Hi, everybody. It's episode 338 of PodQuest.
Hey.
Hello.
It's Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello, hello.
And Walnut.
Hello.
I'd ask how you guys are doing, but we already talked about that before we started recording, so...
I was in the middle of texting my sister the funniest text message ever. Well, not necessarily ever, but it's jiggle the flusher, please. Because I can hear for some reason, my flusher will, lock in a lightly higher position, and so then it won't set. So if you just tap the flusher handle, it'll set the plunger and it'll be fine. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Ours does that sometimes, too. I think it might just be like a sign of an older toilet.
Yeah, I think I might need to get a new plunger, and it should be fine after that, but I just haven't gotten to it.
Could also be your chain. I know for a while there, our chain was just kind of, hooked weird. So we, popped it off and, redid it, and it ended up giving it, extra slack. So, the plunger would still come up when you'd flush the handle, but when it was relaxed, it went down quicker, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I just realized I never came back into the outline and moved a few things around, so I'm going to move that around now, because I just want to get this out of the way real quick.
Well, anyway, it is PodQuest episode 338. We're recording on Wednesday, February 10th,
I did that already. I don't listen to you. You know that. So, just real quick, up front, I got that platinum on Miles Morales.
Nice.
New Game Plus, you can do it in about 3 hours.
Yeah.
If you
sounds about right.
If you just do strictly the story, so if you've done everything else in the base game, and then New Game Plus, you just run through the story, about 3 hours. Would probably be quicker, but they have a bunch of unskippable cutscenes.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of them can be skipped, which is nice, but plenty of them can't be, and it's super frustrating. Because it's some of the longer ones, too, that you can't skip. And it seems like it's the ones that where they literally lead directly into, combat a lot of times. So, the ones where it's just, a cutscene and then you're just free to move around, not so much, but, cutscenes where it goes from talking to fighting. A lot of those don't seem to let you skip them.
I guess maybe I can understand that. Maybe. But, yeah, that kind of sucks. But it's still not terrible.
It only sucked because I had literally just seen all of it. So it was just I know I know what they're... I know this. Just let me fucking go punch people.
Yeah.
But the reason I want to bring this up is I paid a little bit better attention. They do the thing I was talking about last week where it looks like the main villain... when they are early game and talking, whether they're in their guise or not, once you find out who they are, at least, their captions come up as their actual name. Not that they're not displayed as the Tinker. By the end of the game, when they've kind of just lost it and are full on revenge mode, all their captions are Tinkerer from that point on.
That's a neat Easter egg, almost.
It slowly shows their progression further and further into being that villain that they were.
Yeah. And it also just goes to show that, Insomniac thought about that while they were doing their captions.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is. If you have the captions turned off, you'd never notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
I love having, captions and stuff on it, especially with, comic book games, because Avengers, you got so much more by having both the captions and the subtitles, because it fed some different they look this way, they say this or they do this, it added a little bits of dialogue that you might not have gotten from just watching the cutscene, and even some of the dialogue was different too than what the cutscene was going through.
That's actually kind of weird.
It is weird, but the caption stuff where it's it'll even say the Quinjet is whizzing down or whatever and landing or something like that. But other times it would actually feed more into the comic bookiness. Where it's how you'll have those yellow boxes that'll set the scene a little bit more. That's kind of what that does. That did.
Yeah, no, I mean it's the accessibility stuff, so that for people that are maybe don't have the best eyesight, they're getting a little bit more from the description.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sort of stuff is neat. The whole dialogue thing is weird though. I know anime has that happen. If you a lot of times if you have something on an English dub but also turn on the subtitles, the subtitles are still the Japanese language English subtitles.
Yeah.
So it's like what you'd see if you were watching it in Japanese but subbed. And they almost never line up because the dubs are generally actually slightly different from just the subtitles that they put on the Japanese stuff.
Yeah, well, the amount of words and syllables that they have to make fit into this character's mouth hole moving, they have to change words.
Yeah. Well, and also just they can translate things differently, like based on like context.
Yeah.
Like in the Japanese, like if something is done a certain way and they translated the screen before it one way, they're a little pigeonholed. But when it comes to dubbing, if they can just have the voice actor be like, "Hey, say this way instead."
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was just a cool thing from there. That's it.
Yeah.
So E3, do you guys remember that?
No, what's that? What's
It's the Electronic Entertainment Expo. It's usually held in LA. One time in like 1998, it was held in Atlanta. Not sure why they picked Atlanta.
I think it was more than once. I think there were 2 years in Atlanta.
I thought it was only the 1 year.
You might be right. I feel like there were 2.
Well,
And
so
there was
Santa Monica. Yeah, there was at least 1 year for Santa Monica. Because that was just 1 year, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure.
Let's see. Oh no, you are correct. So 97 and 98 were both Atlanta. So it was Los Angeles 95 and 96. 97 and 98 was Atlanta. 99 through 2006 was LA again. Well, the LA Convention Center. 2007 was the Santa Monica Airport. Why the fuck not, right? Which is still basically LA. And then every other year since then, it's been the Los Angeles Convention Center, except for last year where it was canceled.
Yeah.
I think at one point their plan was to like go back and forth, like do Los Angeles for 2 years and then like do someplace else and then, you know, like rotate. But eventually that just stopped happening.
Yeah.
But so this year, this June is when it'll happen. They're trying to do an online version.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
but at the same time, like every company already does their own digital stuff, so like they're not. What the hell are they gonna do?
Well, so I think what the ESA is trying to do is pull all of those individual things back under their umbrella instead of every publisher doing their own random event throughout the summer.
Yeah.
They're still planning it to be a 3-day event over those same dates, like June 15th, 16th, and 17th. But they haven't confirmed anything yet. They actually are still waiting on like approval and stuff from ESA board members, which are mostly executives from the larger publisher. Excuse me.
Yeah.
The statement that the ESA released, like confirming that they were looking into this, was, "We can confirm that we are transforming the E3 experience from 2021 and will soon share exact details on how we're bringing the global video game community together. We have great conversations with publishers, developers, and companies across the board, and we look forward to sharing details about their involvement soon." So at least they're trying something. Video Game Chronicle is the one who kind of like got a hold of this. So it seems like the ESA was sending out details about this to a bunch of publishers, and VGC got a hold of it somehow and then released it. The event, like I said, is supposed to take place between June 15th and 17th, which they confirmed as like the in-person dates last year. It'll be streaming for 12 hours a day from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., which seems absolutely absurd. And then they'll do replays of the streams, like off hours for like your different time zones. The ESA is also makes mention of charity events that will take place outside of those main hours.
Okay.
So what they're looking to do is they would have multiple 2-hour keynote sessions focused on specific games and developers throughout those 12 hours. The sessions could include Q&As, but are not guaranteed to. They're also considering a preview night on the 14th, with additional streams for smaller games that showcase from like publishers and influencers and media. So one thing I actually didn't put in here that was in the article I was reading, they're planning on giving media access to the games early somehow. I know some publishers, like early on in COVID, were doing like digital stuff with them where like they were basically like remoting into like a VM and playing like a PC build of a game. So I'm not sure if that'll be the same way that they'll do it or not, or if they'll just be like the behind closed doors like walkthroughs where like at E3 like in person, if media goes to see a game, it's not always a game that they get to go hands on for. Sometimes it's literally just like a dev playing the game while they watch, or like a pre-captured like video of the game.
Yeah.
So not sure how that'll work. The one other thing we do know though is that Jeff Keighley, who hosted the big stuff at E3 for years, still not involved. Still seems to be planning his Summer Game Fest that he started last year after him and the ESA had creative differences. So there might be like two things, because I mean Keighley seems to have contacts at all of the big publishers since he does multiple big shows a year. And I know the ESA charges people for this stuff. And I know some of the publishers also want, like some of the big publishers that are involved with the ESA also want money to be part of this. So maybe the E3 part doesn't really happen as planned and Keighley just gets everyone involved in his thing. Because all his thing was basically him doing streams for like smaller stuff and then kind of piggybacking off of the bigger publisher stuff like the Xbox and the Ubisoft and things.
Mm-hmm.
So that is honestly, I see that being the way that goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're going to try to bring it back, but at the same time, I've kind of been over E3, like, past couple years haven't been really that special. And a lot of big names have dropped out to where it's not really all that worth it anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they've dropped out of E3 itself, but would still do something that week. Like, it wasn't like EA didn't do anything. Like, they did their shit before and then got the fuck out, but...
Well, no, EA's the one that didn't get the fuck out. They actually stayed set up, like, across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
But I kind of agree with Richie. Like, EA Play was not as interesting ever as their actual press conferences were. Not that EA ever had very good press conferences, but, like, the EA Play stuff was even less interesting than that. Because it basically just focused on whatever shooter they had coming out that year. Like, you didn't even really get the sports talk from them on those things.
Yeah.
And then, like, Sony State of Plays have never been very good. They're like knockoff Nintendo Directs without the charm.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Nintendo Directs are what they are. Like, I kind of miss Nintendo doing an actual stage show, but their E3 Directs were usually, like, fun and charming and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're down to E3, like, at least from, like, the people that can't go, like, in person. E3 is basically Microsoft on Sunday, maybe Bethesda, maybe Ubisoft, maybe Square Enix.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, the last probably 2 years have been, well, the 2 years prior to the one canceled are kind of where they've just been, eh.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's been and, like, honestly, I'm over getting overhype on games and getting a game announced today that won't come out for 5 years, and that's what happens pretty much every E3, is you get at least 1 to 5 games that get announced way too early. And I'm just like, I myself am over E3.
You see, I'm over the press conferences, but I think there's still a lot of cool stuff that comes out of E3, which I know you don't actually pay any attention to, Rich.
Yeah, I really only pay attention to the press conference.
Yeah, so all the stage stuff that a lot of the different, like, media outlets do, like your GameSpot, your IGN, they get all the actual people working on games to come and talk about them, not just, like, the talking heads for the press conferences.
Yeah.
So they actually get to have conversations with people that are passionate about the game that they showed off at the press conference, and while they're usually restricted on what they can say about them, they can at least say things, like, authoritatively about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that was the best thing about, like, Giant Bomb's nighttime shows at E3, was, like, they would spend an hour with fucking Phil Spencer, and he would be pretty honest about the shit Microsoft was doing for Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, his interviews with Jeff on those almost made me buy an Xbox, even though I give no shits about any of their exclusives.
Yeah, he's one of those executives that is just, he's incredibly likable without, like, he doesn't come, I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. He doesn't come out like he's trying to make people like him and stuff. Like, he just seems like he just wants to do a good job and he wants people to have fun.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I know at the end of the day, he wants everyone to play Xbox, but he very rarely says, and actually not even very rarely, he never says anything negative about any competition.
Yeah.
Like, whenever he's on those shows talking, he'll say how much he feels that Xbox is the best place to play, but also does not disparage, like, oh yeah, no, the Switch isn't fun. Like, no, like, if you want to play the Switch, get a Switch, but also buy an Xbox.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's always the stuff I liked most from E3 is all the smaller stuff, and it's not even behind the scenes because like they're really not getting into like how they make the games. They're just getting into what they can talk about the game. And oftentimes they're showing you a little bit more of Giant Bomb, not so much because theirs really is a talk show, but most of the other stage shows are more like, here's some like video footage that maybe you didn't catch during the conference, or they couldn't show during it because of time constraints and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this ends up being.
Yeah.
And it is also worth mentioning, they apparently have not completely ruled out doing like a physical show yet. But they're basing it entirely around like pandemic stuff. So that will soon be ruled out, I'm sure.
I mean, I think it would mostly wind up being ruled out by people not wanting to go.
Well, that's more what I mean.
Not being able to commit now to go, or like by April to going in June.
Yeah, and honestly, even April seems late. Like, I feel like if they have to make that like clear decision by March, because
probably
like those booths and stuff are large, and you know, like the companies that have booths definitely have to plan what theirs is going to entail.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of them have probably still been planning as though it would happen.
That's possible.
I mean, the date's been set. They've known and could have at least spent some time going, hey, if this does happen, what do we want to, like, there's almost zero chance they've been like, oh shit, E3's in 4 months? Do we want to go? What's the plan? Like, there's no way that's happening at any of the big companies.
That's true. The thing I wonder, though, is even if they tried to do like an in-person event, they might not be able to actually get booths constructed. Like, so companies generally don't do that themselves, especially in convention centers that require union work.
Which LAC is one.
Yeah. And, like, I have a client that, like, their profession is that. Like, they construct and maintain booths for companies at trade shows, like, across the country. Mm-hmm. Like, they have basically no employees right now. Like, everybody was laid off or furloughed, and all of their contractors were also laid off or furloughed. So, like, assuming that those people are still just available to do that stuff and haven't found, like, other construction-oriented work, you know, who knows? Because, like, those booths usually take a couple of days to put up and a couple of days to tear down. So,
yeah.
But, Rich, you've played Maneater on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, so I started it shortly after it was released on the PS5. Like, I only played, like, the beginning intro thing. And then this weekend I was gonna play Resident Evil, but I didn't have it installed, so I decided to play that while it was installing. And I am loving the hell out of this game. It's stupid.
Quick question.
What's that?
Was this a January PS Plus or December PS Plus?
January.
Okay, so it hadn't actually been out that long then.
No. I think it was January. Whenever it was released, it didn't get released for PS5 until it was, I think, or something like that. But I think it was January. I don't remember.
I think you're right. I think it was January, because I feel like December was too long ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a surprise PS5 Plus game, because, like, no one was expecting it, and then they were like, oh, surprise, and anyone who bought it, you get your money back. But it is stupid in all the right ways. It basically, it has, like, this mock documentary style, like, audio going on in the background as you do things. Like, it has a Deadliest Catch announcer talking about some of the things you do from time to time. It has a cool mechanic of there's like 4 different kinds of like upgrade resources, and in order to get them, you find containers, you do side missions and things like that. But then also the different creatures and critters that you kill give you different kinds of upgrade materials. So, like, turtles always give you the blue. Groupers give you yellow. Anything that's like threatening, like barracudas, humans, or crocodiles, they'll give you red, and then there's green, which is like albino, so that's like very uncommon to find. It has like some cool mechanics like that. I just became, right before we were playing, I just became an adult shark. I'm only in like the second area, and it's like the combat system, like the controls, it's a little wonky. The thing that drives me the most nuts is fighting too close to the surface, because if you reach the surface and your fin breaches it, the camera goes immediately to above the surface, and you can't see under you because you're in the swamps of Louisiana. So then you have to dive down. So like you kind of got to make sure you're not fighting anything near the surface, otherwise it's just gonna screw you up. There's no lock on either, which kind of sucks. But like if you do hit R3, it'll spin the camera to the main enemy you're fighting, or the hardest enemy around you, I guess. But like it won't stay locked on and like keep the camera on that enemy. So those are like my two biggest complaints. But besides that, it's so fun and so stupid. I've killed two of the bounty hunters in the bayou. The shark hunters. I've cleared most of the side missions in the first two areas. But one of them, one of the enemies were like level 15, so I had to wait. Because to become an adult shark, you have to get to level 10, so I wasn't even that high.
Okay, I was about to ask you that, like, what the stipulation was for the shark growing.
Yeah, so it seems like every 5 levels, but I don't know how many more different kinds of sharks there are, and if it ends up being level 15 to get to an elder shark, that's kind of like, and that's the highest you can get. Like I said, I'm in the first 2 areas. I'm about to go to the 3rd area. I'm not far in the game, and if I have most of my progression already completed, that's kind of lacking. So I'm not really sure, but it seems
it's
right now
only a
every
12 and a half hour game to 100% it.
Yeah, and it's not a long game, but it's still like, say it's like 30 levels or whatever, or 40 levels, I don't know. I don't know what level cap is, I haven't looked into it.
Honestly,
like
at 12 and a half hours, it's probably like 20.
Yeah, which could be. It makes me wonder, like, is Elder the last thing and you don't get that until 20, or is Elder the next thing at 15 and then there's something above that? But like you get upgrades for your shark, so right now I've unlocked my teeth, and a couple of organs, and my actual shark look, so I'm swimming around as a tiger shark, because that's the only skin that I've found so far. My teeth are electric teeth, so they shock enemies, and every 10 points of shock in them, they are stunned. And so every time I chomp down, it shocks them for, I just upgraded it enough to be 2 points every time I chop down. So I have to chomp down 5 times to get them to be stunned.
Do you know what episode you're in?
Episode 3, maybe?
Making a splash?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
So
I didn't pay attention. I haven't, I don't, the tracker on the PS5 says I'm 70% through episode 3. I'm in the Dry Horse Bay or Dead Horse Bay or something like that, if that helps you trying to figure out anything.
Okay. Well, so it's only a 3-episode game. So they're, according to IGN at least, there's 3 episodes. But Dead Horse Bay is only the second area after the opening.
Yeah. So maybe I'm not at 3, but it says 70% 3, so I don't know. Or or episode 3, 70% or something like that. I don't know. I'm just playing the game because it's stupid and fun. And the story is it is what it is. It's nothing too spectacular, but it is ridiculous. Cobb, you said you played the beginning where you play as the mom shark of the shark you're playing in the rest of the game.
Yeah, I played maybe 45 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I ended up I started it and had a little bit of a headache, and by the time I got to the part where you have the baby shark, my head hurt so bad I thought I was going to throw up. Mm-hmm. So I ended up just turning it off and just lying on the sofa with my eyes closed for an hour and a half.
Yeah. I honestly feel like that might have been my first experience with the game too. I wasn't feeling all that great when I played it the first time, so I made it through the intro, and then I was just I gotta stop playing for a bit. But it's not to the game didn't cause this.
No, I had a headache before I started it,
Yeah.
and it was just so I played it. I played a level of Astrobot, and then
Okay.
like I saw you had added this to the outline, so I'm like, well, let me play like a few minutes of it just to get like an idea of what it's like.
Yeah.
And, like it was cool, like
Yeah.
just like that opening area, just swimming around and just eating fish and jumping up on the land and like dragging people into the water and eating them was
Yeah.
interesting.
And it's like at that point you're like the strongest you can be because you're the mom shark or whatever. So you're not really worrying about like combat strategy and fight strategy and watching things. And at one point you're just fighting countless humans and you just have to keep like jumping out of the water, grabbing them from their boats and eating them. Now that I'm fighting things that are like my level or higher, like crocodiles and even barracudas, you actually have to watch and pay attention to what they're doing. And like if they glow, then you can latch on and like shake them around and stuff. And you actually have to dodge, which is something I did not do that whole starting area.
The dodge wasn't very effective a lot of times, I found.
It is most effective when like you're dealing with humans. You have to watch the reticle turn into the box, and then once it turns into the box, you hit the dodge, and he'll dodge out of the way from them shooting.
Yeah, I was trying that. I must have just not been timing it well.
Yeah.
It was also tough because you had like 3 different people aiming at you a lot of times, like 2
Yeah.
people on a boat and then like a diver all aiming at you, so you couldn't really find like a respite to sort of like get your bearings.
Yeah. One cool thing they have is if you go eat and attack humans, you have a threat meter, kind of like in like Grand Theft Auto and stuff. When like you commit crimes, you have the crime meter. You have a threat meter, and once it reaches the highest point, hunters start coming at you. And then if you attack and break the hunters' boats and kill the hunters themselves, the like named bounty hunters will then come to you. And as your notoriety increases, it harder and harder bounty hunters come after.
Yeah, the whole documentary thing was actually really cool too. Like the
Yeah.
having that voiceover as you're the original shark like swimming around, and it's like this shark is like known as the most powerful. It can do this and it'll do that and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you start like attacking people, like I was like working my way up the boat dock, like eating people at one point, and it's just
Mhm.
like it's very uncommon for this type of shark to be this aggressive.
Yeah. It was at one point it was saying for me like it's not common for sharks to go to areas where there are swimmers. But like one of the missions I had to do, or one of the side missions, was go eat a bunch of humans. It's and like one of the 2 of the spots, actually 3 of the spots that I had to go. No, all of them actually that I had to go eat humans side missions. You actually have to jump out of the water, grab them, and chomp on them while out of the water. I was able to time it perfectly enough at a teen shark where I could jump out, chomp 2 of them, and grab a third, and then jump in the water before I started to suffocate.
Which isn't bad.
No, not at all. It goes pretty quick, but after you kill 10 humans, the hunters come after. So it's like you kind of gotta like manage that, like, or not manage anything, but like you kind of just gotta notice like, oh man, the hunters are gonna come after me soon. I gotta make sure to be in the water so I'm not suffocating when the hunters are coming after me, and then fight them off, or just run away from them and hide. But it is a stupid cool game, and if you were able to get it when it was free on PS5, or if you're able to just buy it anyway, buy it. It's stupid fun, and I really like playing it. I can't wait to see how much more you progress. Like I think there is a Megalon in there. You might be able to get to play as a Megalon. I'm shocked I haven't unlocked any more like shark skin besides just the one that I've gotten so far.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something that will come later on. I think it's on. It's coming to Switch, I think, and I believe it's already available on Xbox. Maybe.
I think it's only on PS5 right, and it's not even on Steam yet.
I'm checking. No, it says it's on.
Yeah, it's been out on PC since last May, and it's been on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah. It launched worldwide on all that stuff in May. Series X was the 10th of November, so the launch of the console. And same thing for PS5. Those versions launched with the console in the different regions. And then the Switch version is just due sometime this year.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is. It's still not available on Steam though, which is weird.
Oh, like it's only available through like the Windows Store or something, or Epic Launcher.
I don't know. Let me check Epic. See if it's available on Epic.
Yep, Microsoft Windows via the Epic Game Store.
Okay. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably why Epic probably bought exclusivity rights to it, or
Yeah.
just offered them a better cut, which is how they've been getting exclusive games.
Yeah, Epic's cut is so much better than Steam's from what I hear that, like, it makes sense to release on Epic before anything else.
Yeah, you're just going to make more money. People just hate the Epic Game Store.
The Epic Game Store's not that bad. I don't hate it. Plus, I get a free game every week.
Apparently,
Or a week and a half.
I don't know because I've never even seen it, but a lot of people don't like the launcher, like the way that you actually launch the games, I guess.
I mean, I've only played 1 or 2 games through the Epic that I got from Epic, and I don't like it. I add an icon on desktop, and it just double click the icon, and it loads up fine.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't do desktop. Like, I don't have desktop icons.
Okay.
I hide that shit.
Why? Like, I mean, if I'm gonna play a game quite often, like with The Forest, I put that onto my desktop rather than having to go into Steam, go to my Steam library, scroll down to The Forest, and open it up from there. Just have a desktop icon, double click, and boom, you can launch.
Well, I would either pin it to the start menu or pin it to my taskbar. Why put it on your desktop? That's a waste of space.
Why is it a waste of space?
Because you never see the desktop. It's literally a waste to put anything on there.
My desktop is always up there.
My desktop's never visible.
I most often only have 1 to 2 windows open at a time. Like right now I have 3 because I have Chrome with the Outline, Edge with Zencaster, and then Audacity. But like when I'm playing games, I have Discord opened but minimized, and my desktop open to open up my game, unless I'm scrolling through a game that I don't have installed already on my PC.
That's weird.
I think it's weird to never see your desktop, or to not see your desktop, or whatever.
I mean, a lot of people don't see their desktop. Like, you have Windows open. Why would you see your desktop?
What do you mean you have Windows open?
Like, what do you think your desktop is?
I minimize everything, and it's my desktop background.
I was just making sure we weren't thinking of, like, you weren't talking about, like, the taskbar?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, I almost never see my desktop.
I don't understand how.
I have things open instead. Like, I full screen everything.
Okay. That blows my mind.
Well, I mean, I don't put fucking game things on my desktop unless it has to. I mean, because the shit's gonna open Steam when you go launch the game anyway.
So, I have 2 things on my desktop right now, and they're actually just from today that I have to still move into folders. Actually, they're both trash. I'm going to just throw them away. But yeah, I keep everything in folders. Like, everything goes into a OneDrive or a Dropbox folder. And I have those folders, like, pinned in the favorites and stuff like that on Windows and Mac. And anything that gets used often either gets pinned in the start menu, pinned on the taskbar, pinned on the dock. Like, my desktop is mostly unseen 90% of the time.
I mean, to each their own. My desktop is maybe a little messy, but it's actually organized in a way that I get it.
Folders, man. Everything belongs in a folder in your documents.
I should put some of these things in folders. I used to keep, like, the anime I didn't watch on my desktop. And I have a bunch of Naruto episodes that I never watched still on there. All, like, those final episodes.
That's frustrating. That's incredibly frustrating to me.
That just sit there right now. I should just delete them because I'm never going to watch them. But they literally just sit there, and anytime, like something happens and, like, my desktop kind of, like, screws up and everything goes off to the side, one side or whatever, I take the time to organize it and put it all in that side. And I have a few docs that, like, I saved there on the desktop a while back for, I don't even know why, that just still sit there.
Folders, man. Folders. I promise.
I have, let's see, let's open this jaunt up and see when it's from.
So, I get real uncomfortable at clients when their desktops are just full of individual files. Like, I'll go to help somebody, and I have actually seen somebody, they had 2 screens, like 2 fairly large screens.
Mm-hmm.
They saved everything to the desktop. It was all just individual Word documents and PDFs and stuff like that, just across both screens, to the point where on the second screen, if you pulled the cursor to the right, the fucking desktop scrolled over because there were still more icons that wouldn't fit on the screen.
See, that's obnoxious, but, like, for some reason I have a water bill payment from 2017 saved on my screen. I just saw that I had it on there, and I saved it on my desktop as backup, and just never turned it off.
Your desktop's not a backup. Folders are backups. Put it in Dropbox.
I'm the only one who uses this computer. It doesn't matter to me.
If it you know what though, if that computer just dies today and you had everything in Dropbox, you wouldn't lose a thing.
But it's a 2017 water payment. What do I need that for?
I'm just saying. Put it in Dropbox.
Yeah, what do you need it for? Delete it.
I just saw it now though. Like,
and you know what? If you had it in a folder, it wouldn't just be randomly sitting on your desktop taking up unnecessary real estate.
But it'd be taking up unnecessary real estate still, because it's a document from 2017 that I don't need anymore.
But you put it in a folder that says 2017 documents, and then you can just look into it. Be like, here's my record of things from 2017 that I paid.
Or I could just delete it, just like I would be deleting this one.
God, you're probably that guy that has like 3,000 unread emails too, aren't you?
I just cleared my inbox right now. It's probably close to 1,000.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see. No, I lied. 356.
That's 356 too many. That is 356 too many. You should have 0 unread emails in your inbox.
Well,
ever.
it's like Fitbit, Phillies, LinkedIn.
Okay. Delete it. Delete.
Yeah.
Delete.
Dude,
Delete.
I don't look at my personal email unless I'm expecting an email. I just don't bother with it. I don't.
The fuck do you have email then for?
Yeah, do you get notifications on your phone for email?
I do, yeah.
So do you just constantly have like numbers on top of your email?
No,
Or do you turn the app badge thing off?
I once you clear the email notification, the numbers disappear. You know that, right? You don't have to read the emails to not have that shown.
So I
just clear the notification.
I don't like having unread email, so I go in and delete it or read it immediately. Well, not immediately, but like when I see it, like I don't clear the notification, I just open the email or delete it.
That's me for work. My work inbox is, I like immediately read every email, but my personal inbox, I know 90% of it is like promotional shit that I'm like, all right, maybe I'll look at this at some point, and then just don't even bother and just clear it out and or like undo the notification. I don't look at my email.
Like I just had 5 unread email from the last 2 hours that I just went in there, marked read, and deleted.
Yeah, I have actually 427 emails in my inbox.
And I have 2 different inboxes.
I have 3 different inboxes. One of them is social, and there's 36 new. I don't know how many's in there. One of them shows promotions. There's 50 new, but I'm sure there's more.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm sorry. I have 2 different personal email accounts. I have my OneQuest account and my like personal Gmail account.
I have the OneQuest account, which is just the Zencastr.
Yeah, no, I get all like the PR stuff sent to my OneQuest one, so I actually get a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. All right. I'll say I don't do a very good job of like clearing out OneQuest email because whatever.
They're both on my phone, so it's one of those like I see the notification, I go in, I clear them.
For some reason, it doesn't show me notifications for the OneQuest email.
You actually have to go in and turn them on.
It's on.
Oh, really? That's weird.
Well, so because it's on that email address is still on the like updated thing where they have the different types of the inboxes, like the promotions.
Oh, like what Richie was just talking about.
Well,
like the social promotions and something else.
Yeah, updates or whatever.
Yeah, I turn that the fuck off on everything. Microsoft does the same thing with Outlook. They have their focused. That shit's all garbage. I get rid of it.
Yeah, I never went and did that on the OneQuest email, so it's whatever.
Like, it's probably super useful for some people. It infuriates me because I just end up missing emails. Especially with like the focused other that Microsoft does. That thing is just hot garbage.
Yeah, because it only gives me notifications when an email actually goes to the inbox, and that's incredibly rare.
Yeah. Yeah, Microsoft is the same way. If you have focused, it tries to determine what your important mail is versus just like everything else. And if it drops it into other, you just don't see it until you click on the other tab.
Yeah.
Which is real easy not to do if you don't know to look there.
Yep.
Ugh. Anyway,
I played Maneater, and that was great.
But clear your desktop.
It's clear to me. Like,
clear your desktop and empty your email.
It's organized. I'll probably empty it when it's back to like 1,500.
Why though? Why not just do it when it's like a small amount so that it's done in like a minute instead of I don't even know how long it would take you to go through 1,500 emails.
I don't go through 1,500 emails. I just click delete all and delete them all at once.
You could have deleted someone's giving you $1 million because you don't fucking read your email.
No, here's the thing though. You're saying I don't read my email. I read my email.
You said you don't read your email.
No, you're saying I don't read my email. I read the emails, I just don't open the emails. Like, I check and see what the email is, and if it's important, I will open it up.
Oh, do you just like swipe down the notification so that you can see a little bit more of it?
Yeah, like, so if it's like Phillies.com, I just swipe away the notification. But if it's like LinkedIn or Indeed, I actually like swing it down, see what it is. If it's nothing, I'll swipe it away. I will read my email. I just don't read the email, or I don't open it.
Yeah, that just seems a little crazy to me. Like, I understand what you're doing. Like, that it makes sense. I don't like seeing the number next to my inbox. Like, I don't like seeing it saying that I have, like, even spam. Like, I don't like seeing that I have 5 spam things in my spam folder.
The frequency that I open my email, I don't recognize. I don't notice it.
That's weird. We live in a digital age, man.
Yeah, I get all my bills and stuff emailed to me, but I also know when all my bills are due.
So. Oh yeah, most of my bills are on autopay.
Yeah, it's like I know all of my bill logins, and I have that all saved in a spreadsheet. So like, I don't like anything that gets emailed to me. I don't read my mail every day.
Oh no, I don't. I never read. I throw all my mail away. It's all junk. I don't need any of it.
Like I have a coworker who's like, how often do you check your? I'm like, I check my mail maybe like once every 2 weeks. Like, I'll bring it in and I'll put it on the table and I'll check it like every 2 weeks when it piles up, because it's all going to be junk mail anyway.
See, I throw it away right away. Unless it looks like it could be important or it's for Erica. Like, I just throw it away.
Yeah, I put it to the side and then forget about it, and then 2 weeks later, I'm like, I have to clear off my living room coffee table. Let's go through that. And I go through the mail, and it's 90% of the time is all junk, or for some reason, even though I already have paperless billing set up, a bill for something.
Yeah, I get that sometimes too. It's super annoying. Also, I just want to roll back for a second. You said that you save all your stuff into an Excel spreadsheet.
I have like I don't have passwords saved onto an Excel sheet. I have like all of the bills I have due.
Okay, and,
I
do that
have
too.
an Excel.
Yeah,
I have an Excel sheet with all the bills due and the general amounts of what they are in case they fluctuate.
Okay.
And one or two, it's one of my what's the word? It's a Google Drive Excel sheet. It's not even like a Excel sheet on my computer. And like one or two might list the password next to it, but like it's no longer the password that it is now. That's been changed. But I kept forgetting the password, so I saved it at one point on this Excel sheet, and then since then had changed my password and then haven't changed it on the Excel sheet.
Yeah.
So let's get to Microsoft.
Look, I'm not done. I'm not done complaining about your desktop.
Microsoft is creating a new wholly owned subsidiary called Vault for ZeniMax acquisition.
You're right, because you can read. Good job.
Yeah, I was reading for the listeners, and now you, because you probably know more about this than I do, can discuss it.
Yeah, so Vault, as they're calling it, is going to be merged with and into ZeniMax, according to the reports. Not really clear what that means.
Yeah, that's vague.
Frankly, like, them creating a subsidiary to be part of, like, the ZeniMax acquisition seems more like it should be, like, an umbrella for ZeniMax and everything under it, not so much merged into. Because that makes it seem like Vault is going to just be part of ZeniMax, not any, like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, this, there isn't much to this that really impacts anything, like, for anybody, really. We're still waiting on, like, the European Trade Commission or whoever to authorize the acquisition to begin with. And in case anyone doesn't know, ZeniMax is the owner of Bethesda and all of Bethesda's properties and studios and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Microsoft is buying them. Not really sure how Vault's going to play into it, but that's a name that definitely is involved with ZeniMax.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
The real reason I put this up on here, though, is because it made me think of this, and I don't think we ever talked about it before. Do you think if the acquisition goes through, which I'm sure it will, that Microsoft will keep all of, like, the non-Bethesda studios as their own, like, as part of Bethesda, or if they'll let them just kind of stand on their own? Because, like, right now you figure if a game comes out from id, like Doom, it has, like, the Bethesda logo on, like, the intro screen. because Bethesda is the owner and publisher of these games. But going forward, Microsoft Game Studios would be the publisher. Id would be the developer. Bethesda is really just this weird in-between that really won't have any control over that stuff, I assume. Like, Id will report directly to Microsoft. So does, like, Id and Tango Gameworks and Machine Games and all of them become just standalone studios like 343 or the Coalition?
Probably.
I mean, yeah, yes, like, yes and no, maybe? Like, probably, like, I feel like it would have all three. It would have Microsoft Game Studios, Bethesda Games, Tango Gameworks. Like, all three would show up on these title cards instead of just the two. Like, because, like, they are offshoots of Bethesda, which are now all offshoots of Microsoft. So, I don't know. Probably.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the point in them keeping the publishing for Bethesda will be, you know?
Yeah, why would they keep all of these studios as Bethesda? It's Bethesda Softworks, I think, is the publishing
I believe so.
brand, right? And then Bethesda Game Studios is the Fallout, Skyrim people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm kind of right there with you. Like, it just doesn't make a ton of sense doing it, like, having it go Microsoft Game Studios, Bethesda Softworks, Tango Gameworks.
Yeah.
And maybe Vault and ZeniMax in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, I would be shocked if the ZeniMax name exists after the acquisition goes through, because why?
Yeah, I wonder if that's actually why they're making that subsidiary and merging it into ZeniMax, so that when ZeniMax is purchased, they can drop that name and just call that section of their portfolio Vault.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the way, like, Google is technically Alphabet, is the parent company.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, when I see, like, Machine Games or Tango Gameworks or id or any of them, I don't think Bethesda immediately. I think of the games that those studios work on, and none of them really look or play like Bethesda games. So, like, when I think of Bethesda games, I think of janky Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Like, big, open-world, expansive games that are not for me, that people love, but are also pretty broken.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, id, I think of Doom. I think of fast-paced demons being shot in the face, and it just working well.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
like,
But like, it's different. Like, for me, if I hear Tango Gameworks, Machine Games, like, I don't know those names, but if you say Bethesda, I know that name. So, like, it's like, yes, you'll know them, but, like, for me, I really only know the core Bethesda games, the Skyrims and Fallouts and such. That, like, it's like, it's a 50-50 here at this point. Like, there's going to be a lot of people like you two that would know id and probably Tango, but for me,
everyone knows id.
Well, yeah,
Everyone knows id. Tango
I
and Machine Games, I can understand.
Here's the thing: what other games besides Doom has id made? Because I don't think I've played an id game.
Wolfenstein 3D.
Never played
Quake.
yeah, I was gonna say Quake.
Quake 2, Quake 3, Quake 4.
Maybe played that once forever ago. Like,
But
I
still, like,
Commander Keen.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
it's a really old
You're a bad gamer.
side-scrolling platformer. Like, I mean, they've made arguably some of the most important first-person shooters of all time.
Yeah,
Some
so
of the greatest first-person shooters of all time.
Yeah,
it is
They
basically...
invented the first-person shooter.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it is responsible for first-person shooters as we know them.
yeah.
Like, literally,
But,
like, John Carmack, if I remember the story correctly, is actually the reason that those games can happen, because prior to them making their games, PC games were like Super Mario Bros. Special, where it was all frame
A single
based.
screen.
So when you got to the edge of the frame, it would transition like Zelda does.
yeah,
It wasn't until they came along that he was actually able to make a PC game that actually flowed from like point to point.
yeah.
Because that's actually how he showed like the team. Like, he coded like a Mario Brothers clone. I forget the name of it, but he basically like left it on somebody's like a floppy disk on somebody's desk with it was like literally like copyright infringement bros.
I'm pretty sure it was literally just Mario.
But
Like, I don't think he changed anything, because I'm pretty sure they tried to get Nintendo to let them publish that on PC.
yeah, because this was post Super Mario Brothers Special existing and the shit show that was. So yeah, like while you might have never played the games and like you know all those game names though, even if you don't know that id did them. They are probably one of the most important game studios ever.
Oh, for sure. They absolutely, without question, they are.
But like my point is like I if you were to say like have you seen the like obviously you're not going to say like have you played the latest id Software game or whatever. Like you're not going to say that. You're going to say whatever the title of the game is. But like if you were to come to me and be like let's have a discussion about id and their games, as far as I can remember, the last time I played an id game was Doom 3 in 2005.
I mean, they went a sizable chunk without really putting anything out there.
Yeah, so but
have made two of the best first-person shooters in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but I'm not saying everyone hasn't played them, but there will be people that don't play them, but there will be the people that know the name Bethesda, which is why that's why I'm like this whole will they still add Bethesda? Maybe, probably. It is a name recognition type of thing. People know Bethesda. They should know id, or they should know id more, but they also should know Machine Games and Tango Gameworks. These smaller studios need to get their recognition, but people aren't going to know them as much as they're going to know Bethesda, because Bethesda has always been part of these studios.
But so well, it actually has only been a part of Bethesda's greater infrastructure since 2009 or 10.
Yeah,
they were their own thing for 20 years.
Yeah, but it's been 11, 12 years, since 13 years since the acquisition. So it's like yeah, longtime gamers, people that have been gaming since the 80s would know id as themselves, but like newer gamers are going to know id as part of Bethesda.
I kind of disagree with that still, but like I feel like even Bethesda, when publishing those games, hasn't made a big deal that, at least for the Doom games, that they're involved with those. Like, they are id games, and oh hey, Bethesda happens to publish them. Like, I don't know. But to your even to your point about, hey, these studios should get more recognition, taking the Bethesda name off of them helps, just making them Microsoft published games.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, because at this point, I see Richie's point is Bethesda is such a known name in the gaming area, because their name gets attached to so many franchises. It's not just their core game studio games. It's all the id Machine Games and stuff like that. But yeah. I feel like dropping Bethesda, having them just branded Microsoft, even if people don't necessarily know them up front, they'll start to recognize them the same way people that follow that stuff will recognize 343 as the guys that took over Halo, or the Coalition as the people that took over Gears of War. Because that's really all. Do they have anyone else? Is Playground Games officially Microsoft? Did they buy them? Do they own them?
I think so. They're the
Forza Horizon, right? Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, look at that, Forza Horizon. They're also the ones doing the Fable reboot. Oh, they were just fucking purchased. It looks like 2018. No, wait. Yeah, 2018. They were purchased. It looks like. Microsoft announced it at E3 2018. Okay. But yeah, I think, Drew, you do have a point though. If they just have the Microsoft Game Studios, they'll start to get some of that recognition.
And I mean, it's hard for me to think about it from anyone else's point of view, but I don't know, this shit that isn't. When I think about Bethesda, I only think about Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I don't think about their other games.
So actually, that's a good question. So, Rich, when you hear Bethesda and you think of Bethesda games, do you think of anything other than the Elder Scrolls, Fallout sort of realm, or is that where your mind goes immediately?
When people say and speak Bethesda, that's initially where my head goes. But if somebody were to say Machine Games, I would have no idea what you're talking about.
No, that's fine. But then if someone went, oh, they're part of Bethesda, and you would go, oh, they make the Fallout and Elder Scrolls, like...
I mean, me personally, I'll be like, okay, I know Bethesda, but I know Bethesda has all these other smaller groups. You would have to do better in explaining the game to me and the other games that maybe Machine Games has done.
They've done all the
But,
Wolfenstein stuff since New Order.
I've literally never played a Wolfenstein game.
Hey, play the fucking recent Doom and Wolfenstein games. They're so fucking good.
They are actually very good. And Rich, you liked those what are those, like, Polish, I think, like post-apocalyptic first-person shooter, like, survival game? You played two of them, like, a year ago.
Stalker?
No, maybe it's not Polish. It's like European.
Metro.
Yeah, the Metro series. You like the Metro series, right? You didn't just play them.
I did enjoy them. They were different, but I did enjoy them.
I think you'd actually probably. So I've never played them, but like based on what I've seen of them, I think you would actually really enjoy the Wolfenstein games, like the modern ones. Maybe not like the alternate ones every time, because I think Youngblood didn't do real well.
I still haven't even played Youngblood.
But like New Order, New Colossus, right?
Yeah, those are the two like full games.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was also the old Blood,
which that was like a supernatural spin, right?
I think it was. I really don't know because I also didn't play that, but it was like a prequel.
Okay,
to
but
the New Order.
But yeah, I think you'd actually probably really enjoy the New Order and New Colossus, just based on like knowing the sort of games that you do like.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're always super cheap because they've been out for so long now.
Yeah, true. But I know I say this all the time, but I've always got so much shit to play.
Except for those times where you have nothing.
Game. Play fucking good games.
I'm playing Maneater, which is a good game. I'm getting ready to play Resident Evil, which is a good game. I want to get the new Mario when that comes out in a week or two.
Friday.
Friday, actually. I'll probably wait off a little bit on that. I want to play Persona 5 because I kind of I want to play Persona 5 and know how to Persona 5 is because I kind of want to get Strikers because I like those Muso type games. I just hope it's not 50 fucking hours long.
Oh,
Strikers, not Persona 5. But and
I was going to say Strikers very well could wind up being like 70 hours long.
So everything I've read about Strikers so far, it still has like the Muso flavoring, but apparently it plays much more like an action RPG, like a Devil May Cry or something like that.
Main story, 38.5 hours.
Yep, I was just going to say that. Completionist, 55.5 hours. Main plus extra is 52.5 hours.
That is, I mean...
No, you know what sucks? I have to play this fucking game and I don't want to. But it's a direct fucking sequel to Persona 5. It's their summer break.
Yeah, but like, you don't have to play it because Persona 6 is going to be a completely different story. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but I liked all those... I want to go spend more time with those characters.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, like... It's got, from everything I've been reading and seeing about it, it's got like a legitimate story that continues where the original game ended.
For you, I would not buy it. I'm sure it'll be on super sale at some point.
Oh, I'm not buying it at $60. Like, if I get like a disc, like a sale or something, sure.
I feel like it'll be a PS Plus game within a year or two.
I don't know about that.
I mean, Persona 5 is PlayStation 4 Classics, which was free for all PS Plus or PS5 owners.
Yeah, but that took 5 years.
Yeah.
Or
and it's
4
the
years.
only Persona game that's ever been a PS Plus game.
Yeah, but when did Persona 4 come out?
2008.
Before they even started doing PS Plus game. Before PS Plus even existed.
It came out on PS2.
Yeah, it came out on PS2.
They've backlogged. They've put out games that are old on PS Plus before.
Yeah,
I don't think that's something Atlas is at all interested in doing.
Yeah, Persona 4 Golden, as a Vita game where there were not a lot of stellar Vita games that people really wanted, also never made it on PS Plus to my knowledge. But like you said at the beginning, this game is 100% going to go on a good sale at some point.
Oh yeah, Atlas games always do.
And frankly, like when it's on a half off sale, and like maybe if I have like a gift card or something like that, I will pick it up. But yeah, I'm not buying that game at $60. I might watch some video of it, like some actual, like, after the game launches, just to, like, get a better feel for, like, how much I'm willing to spend on it. But definitely not $60 for me because do those games usually have like difficulty levels?
Age of Calamity did.
So like I honestly might drop it to whatever the easiest setting is just to get the story, because that if it's anything like Musou games usually are, just that gameplay is not fun for me at all. But like I want that story. I want to see what happened over summer break, goddammit.
Yeah.
And you should want to see what happens when the Nazis won World War II and took over the world, and one man had to stand between them and everybody else.
I used to be all about first-person games, or first-person shooters, not say first-person games. I played still a decent amount of first-person games, but like, I don't know, first-person shooters just don't intrigue me anymore.
I can understand that.
They don't pull me the way they used to. Like, currently the only first-person shooter that I'm playing, and that's on occasion, is Zombie Army Trilogy. And that's from the Sniper Elite guys, so that's not fully like, it is still a first-person shooter, but it's like a different kind of first-person shooter. Everything else, any other first-person game I play, tend to be like the survival, sandbox type game. And like, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, what I like playing is like the Forest and 7 Days to Die and stuff. Like, I'm all about those.
I mean, like, for a while there, the first-person shooter single player got real fucking boring when it was basically just Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Doom and Wolfenstein are nothing like Call of Duty campaigns.
Yeah, I just know from like what Rich has said before, like as good as Doom is, I don't think he would really enjoy Doom.
He doesn't like good games, Cobb.
But I do think I think you would really enjoy the Wolfenstein games. Maybe not. So the one thing I can say is you might get turned off a little bit by the opening mission of the first game. Because that's kind of like one of those, like, you're kind of the badass at that point. But then it does that whole, like, all right, well, here you are kind of starting over. And that's where the game actually, in my opinion, shines, because you're not like the crazy badass. Like, you're kind of like finding stuff to fight with and hiding behind things and trying to be stealthy in a game that's not really good at stealth.
Yeah.
And the thing I'll say about the Wolfenstein games, like, I liked what they did mechanically in the first game more, where the way its skill system worked, basically the more you did shit just naturally is the way it would progress your character. Like, if you played stealthily, you would get bonuses to stealth shit.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you played just going in guns blazing, you would get upgrades, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't remember them handling the things that way in 2, but the story shit in 2 was fucking way more bonkers and amazing. So it was like, alright, I can deal with not having the same style progression to see this shit.
Yeah, I mean, and killing Nazis is always a good time.
Oh yeah, that's why
it's America's pastime.
It's why I like Zombie Army Trilogy, because I'm killing undead Nazis. It's even better.
Yeah, but what if you killed space Nazis?
I mean, space Nazis.
Or Hitler in a mech.
Or Hitler.
Yeah, there is Hitler.
Spoiler, you kill Hitler in the second one.
Anyway, just moving along instead of trying to convince Richie to play games. Did you guys see this GoldenEye leak thing that happened?
I keep meaning to watch any footage of that, but I did hear about this.
Rich, have you heard about it?
Maybe in passing, kind of thing. Like, I might have seen an article, but didn't read it.
So, there was a version of GoldenEye, the N64 game, that was being developed for the Xbox 360 back in, like, 2005, 2006. It was canceled. The entire thing was leaked online, though. Like, last week, I want to say it was. It's apparently a slightly older build than, like, their most recent build. But the story is basically the game was pretty much done, and Nintendo canceled it. Because at the time, so the way that the rights worked out for that, Rare made GoldenEye. Rare at that point was owned by Microsoft. Nintendo actually owned the rights to GoldenEye, though, because it was published by them on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole bunch of like pieces that had to sort of work together to make this happen. Eventually, there was a GoldenEye remaster that came out on the Wii, but that was Activision, I think, did that. So completely unrelated to this. I have like the article open though because the story's actually fucking weird. So former developers on the remaster, Ross Burry and Mark Edmonds, spoke with Ars Technica about its development, saying that it had started in late 2006, early 2007, so I was wrong on the dates, but didn't initially have approval from higher-ups. This is also from IGN's article on it. The game was planned as an Xbox 360 release and was intended as a very straightforward remaster for the console with little in ways of new content beyond some dramatic visual upgrades, including updated character models, in many cases, making the characters look closer in appearance to their real-life actors. So, like, you know, 006 would look actually like 006, not like that weird blocky face that he had in the game. Edmonds explained that at some point in the process, the team was told that everyone had approved it. The team continued work, believing that the rights had cleared and there were no strings attached to the remaster of the Nintendo 64 title. However, just as the game was about to go gold, it was canceled due to an unknown high-up Nintendo executive. When it was put to Nintendo, everyone there approved it, Burry said, except they didn't check with the one guy who mattered. I believe I was told his response went along the lines of, there is no way a Nintendo game is coming out on a Microsoft console. Both Edmonds and Burry estimate that at the time the game was canceled, it only had around 90 bugs in QA testing, a relatively small number for a game release, and indicating that the 007 GoldenEye remaster was nearly ready to be released. The two added that the version of GoldenEye 007 that leaked online earlier this month was not the most current version of the game, but relatively close. It's missing some more updated art assets and has more bugs and other issues than the latest version of the game. Burry stated that he does not anticipate the final version will ever be made available in any way.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, like
the fact that, like, I don't know, it raises questions like, did they actually get full down the line approval, or did somebody just approve it or say they approved it, or somebody say they got approval and not? Like, did Nintendo actually cancel it, or did they just not get full approval, but, like, somebody basically bent the truth and continued it going just to see what would happen type of thing?
Yeah, that's the thing that's, like, obviously these two guys, because they were just on the development team, don't know for sure, is, was this not ever approved in any way, shape, or form, and their bosses just told them it was? Or is it like their story goes, where people at Nintendo approved it, just not the person who actually could make that decision?
It's probably that.
Which, both ways, like, I wouldn't put, well, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't put 100% pure blame on Nintendo because they didn't go to the right people to get the approval.
So,
like,
that's not entirely true. Microsoft could have gone to the right people. Because, like, generally, like, the executive doesn't go to the executive for that stuff. The people that, from Nintendo that were supposed to get that approval, maybe didn't go to the right people on their end.
Yeah, well, that's what I, like, somewhere down the line, somebody didn't go to the right people to get the approval and just gave the approval. And, like, Nintendo as a whole, it's not fully, like, it wasn't canceled fully by Nintendo. It was canceled because one person was an idiot and fucked up, and Nintendo was like, this ain't happening, because basically you didn't get the rights for it anyway. Like, but it's like, it just raises those questions, like, where in the line was the fuck up?
Yeah, like, which side did it fall on? Like, who actually was responsible for this not happening? Like, is it Microsoft not doing, like, due diligence, or did the people from Nintendo just not ask the right people for approval?
Yeah. And how much money was lost on this, too? Like,
yeah.
All those man hours and, like that, like, I'm sure there's a good plethora of games out there that never come out or never finished or never released, but, like, they're probably never to the point that this seems like it would have been to not be released.
Yeah. I also wonder sorry, go ahead, Drew.
No, I was going to say, Star Fox 2.
Yeah.
Done.
That's true.
And then Nintendo was like, nah, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, they at least had a reason for that, even if it was kind of a silly one in retrospect. Like, they didn't want to put out a game they didn't want to put out a big title like that on the Super Nintendo, basically after the N64 was released. Like, it's silly in retrospect. It's like, just fucking release the game. It's done. But back in the 90s, it was all about the polygons.
Yeah.
I also wonder, was this a Nintendo of America decision because they were dealing directly with the American Microsoft? Or was it Nintendo Japan that's like, no, our games will never be on another platform.
So what I could see is it was Nintendo of America and Microsoft talking about it and agreeing to, but no one at Nintendo of America talking to Nintendo of Japan, who actually makes the decision. And then once it got to Nintendo of Japan, them going, what? No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because who would have been the president of Nintendo at that point?
Would it have been Iwata?
That's what I'm trying to find out real quick. Because he was with Nintendo in 2000. President. This is not easy to find on the spot. It might have been Iwata though.
Iwata was 2002 to 2015.
Okay, so yeah, he was the president at that point. And I believe 2006 and 7, Reggie would have been president of Nintendo America. So like the two people that had like the best public face for Nintendo at the time could have been one of the people that said no, not happening. But honestly, 2005 or 2006, 2000 Nintendo was also a different Nintendo. Like they are a super traditional Japanese company. At least they were at the time. I don't know if that's changed. So like they're generally not okay sharing with other companies. Microsoft is a direct competitor, which means you don't share with them at all. And that was the Wii era where even if they weren't as successful as maybe they look like, they had that false inflation of people not being able to get Wiis that had everyone talk about Nintendo. So everyone wanted Nintendo. Like they were selling things pretty regularly.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just such a weird kind of like history of gaming story right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like people have been playing this leaked version. Like it's a full playable version of the game. There's Xbox 360 emulation is good enough that like you can just do it. And it is the full game, like start to finish.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you play it with 2 controllers?
Well, you don't need to.
But
This is true.
That's the GoldenEye 64 experience. So you have to play it with 2 controllers.
Have you ever actually done that?
No, I only ever played it with 1.
It's
Me
not
and Cobb
good.
have done it. It fucking sucks.
Yeah. That
Was it really just like the 2 middle and the Z's on it, or did you have to hit like other buttons?
I mean, I'm pretty sure you wound up using A and B on controller still.
yeah, a little bit if I remember correctly. It's been a few years. But it's not good. It's not a good experience.
Because the biggest problem was you couldn't have move entirely on one stick and look entirely on the other. Like it was always either move forward and back on one stick while it would also then look left and right, and then strafe left and right and look up and down would be on the other stick.
Well,
Whichever way you could flip those two, but you couldn't have move forward and back and strafe left and right on one stick and look up and down left and right on the other.
That's how a lot of first persons were back in that day, though. Anyway, or like when the DualShock or the dual control sticks started to become a thing. Early on, it was always like move and look was one stick, and strafe was a different stick or something.
Well,
like
a lot of games still had tank controls because the DualShock, the original DualShock, was not a like quote unquote mandatory peripheral. Like a lot of people with PlayStations potentially still had just regular controllers, so they couldn't force like dual analog stick controls into a game and risk losing money on those games not selling.
Yeah. So like it kind of makes sense that you can't change the controls to what we would see as a normal first-person control scheme.
But at the same time, think about this. They went to the trouble of making it so you could do it on 2 controllers. Why wouldn't you just make it so that it was functionally the way your brain would want it to work? Because like PC games existed at that point where the mouse was one hand and that controlled the way you looked, and movement was your other hand and that was the keys, and it was up, down, left, right, like forward, backward, and strafing left and right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I just wanted to throw that question out at you.
Yeah, I mean, my response was gonna be because that's not how controllers work. But I don't know.
I mean, it's fair, but like you had the option to change controls. Like, why could they not untie the 2 sets of things and make that an option, even if that was like the 4th option and not what they thought was the ideal way to do it? Like, why isn't it there?
early 2064-bit programming, they probably had to bind it that way, otherwise it would have broken everything. Like,
That's a definite possibility.
Yeah, no, that is true. Also, that was not a
Late 90s.
Yeah, that was
Late-
like
yeah,
1997.
Yeah. late 90s programming, 64-bit programming.
Like I said, it's all about the polygons.
Yeah.
Where'd the outline go? There it is. So, last bit of news. The Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake has been delayed again, this time with no new date. So that development's going real well.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, I forgot that was even happening. So there's that.
It was supposed to come out last month. So,
Jeez.
yeah. So, the development team posted on the official Twitter account for the game, we have made the decision to shift the release for Prince of Persia The Sands of Time remake to a later date. This extra development time will enable our team to deliver a remake that feels fresh while remaining faithful to the original. No new date, so no idea when this game's coming out. The game was originally announced in September at Ubisoft Forward with a January 2021 release date. It was then delayed from that January date to March. So, just like a 2-month difference. And now it's just been delayed out of March to fucking, I don't know, the future.
You know what? That's fine. I'm hyped for this game if it ever comes out.
Whoa. Hold up. Let's roll this back. An hour and 10 minutes ago, you told us you were over being hyped for games.
No, I never said I'm over being hyped for games.
Yes, you did.
I said I'm over first-person games.
No. When we were talking about E3,
No.
you literally said I'm over being hyped for games before they come out.
That are announced 5 years prior to their release.
This game was announced like 2 years ago.
No, it wasn't. It was announced.
It
It
was-
was announced 6 months ago.
Really?
was in-
That's
yeah,
all?
yeah.
September.
It was literally announced in September.
Well,
And-
September was 2 years ago because 2020.
I mean, that is fair.
But
So,
it's like
there.
I loved the original Sands of Time, which is why I'm hyped about them remaking it.
Yeah, no,
Also,
I-
by
I-
the time it comes out, it'll be 2024, so it'll have almost been 5 years.
I mean, it should have already been out, and it should be out in 2 months. But like, I'm happy that they're gonna hold off and maybe like refine it or do like take their time on it or whatever. Like, who knows? Hopefully, it does come out. But I'd much rather see this than a friggin' Cyberpunk scenario. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just wanted to bust your balls for the whole hyped for it after an hour ago you told us you weren't you were over being hyped for games.
I said I'm over being hyped for games that are not announced to come out for 5-6 years.
I mean,
that was
like this one. It has no date
Like-
now.
like the Division, the original Division. We got trailers for it for 6 years before we got the first one to come out.
I think Destiny
Uh,
was the same way, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
been too long. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I really enjoyed the Sands of Time. I actually liked that 2008 reboot they had too.
That was a really fun game. I really enjoyed that one. But like at the same time, you couldn't die, which kind of sucked and like made the game kind of less enjoyable. Whereas like
Yeah.
in the Sands of Time, you had a limited amount of sand. You could definitely die and have to restart and everything like that. Like it's what I want in a game. Like if I fuck up too many times, I gotta restart and not, oh, you fucked up, let me just bring you back to the very beginning of this puzzle and not the very beginning of the level.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Honestly, I'm not sure if I ever finished the 2008 game either. I just remember like enjoying it when I played it.
If I remember correctly, the ending was good, but it's been a long time. I think it set it up for sequels, but they never actually did a sequel to that
It
one.
definitely did, because I remember that. And then, yeah, because the game didn't really do well. I mean, it's the same reason we haven't really seen Prince of Persia games since then.
Yeah.
You had the Sands of Time trilogy, and by the last one of that, it had kind of like fizzled. And then they did that reboot, and that didn't do well, and then it just kind of like went into hibernation for 10 plus
and
years.
And then also, like, there was that story that came out that the original Assassin's Creed was supposed to be a Prince of Persia game, but then they just turned it into Assassin's Creed instead. So that
Oh,
might have
yeah, I
something
remember
to
talking
do
about
with it too.
But so that would have been the same time that the 2008 game came out. So I wonder if that just means that they kind of rushed the 2008 game because, like, they veered Assassin's Creed off into its own thing.
Maybe.
I don't know. So Drew, you started playing Control Ultimate Edition on the PS5.
I have. That game is really weird.
Yep.
How much of it did you play?
So I mentioned this earlier when we were talking. the last thing I did was the like restoring power or the shield or undoing the lockdown, something like I had to go like down into like the bowels of the building, and there was
you
like
had to go like there was one way to the left, one way to the right. You had to go do the one and then go do the other.
Yeah, and then like there was like security all over the thing, like kind of like fighting back like waves of the enemies, and like you'd kind of take out a wave, and then you could go to the door and make your way through like some hallways and stuff.
Some a little bit further than that. I did the next main storyline mission after that.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I get a like X-Files vibe.
Oh no, 100%. I never even watched X-Files, and I got it.
Okay, yeah. So like, it definitely has that paranormal. You don't know what's going on with this weird federal agency, and I don't know. It's really fucking cool.
Yeah, like the gun is really neat.
I haven't unlocked any of the other grips for it, I think they call them, but like the thing that makes it into either like a shotgun or a sniper rifle, and then I think there's a fourth one.
Yeah, there's at least
just like a pistol by default.
Yeah, I have the pistol, and I have one other one. I'm trying to see if it's
probably the shatter, the shotgun.
I think that's it.
That's the first other one you can unlock. So I would imagine it was that, but you could also not unlock it if you want. You could just spend points otherwise.
Yeah, no, I wanted to see what else the gun could do, because the like just regular pistol just wasn't cutting it sometimes.
Yeah, that's where you fling shit at them with your telekinesis.
So I think I actually got the shatter before I had the telekinesis.
Yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure you could.
So I got lost a few times and ended up fighting rooms of people multiple times, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a little confusing to get around that building sometimes. But also with the story of that building, that's probably quite a bit intentional.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I don't know if you remember, or Rich, I don't know if you remember me talking about it when I played it like end of last year. But that opening, and I don't know if you did this either, but in the opening when you first get there and you like walk up the stairs and everything, and you see the janitor for the first time and like ask him some stuff, he points you back the way you came. And when you walk back that way, it's a different spot. If you turn around and go the other way, it actually loops you back to that same spot. Like it's intentionally like fucking Hogwarts or something.
Yeah, like fucking flinging shit from off screen with the telekinesis at enemies is hilarious.
Oh yeah, like that skill is really cool.
Yeah, and I need to remember to use it more. Like there are times I wind up dying in some of the fights where I'm like, fuck, I should have just been throwing shit at some of these.
Well, I mean, you do have like finite energy for that too.
Yeah, but then there's also times where I just kind of forget about it.
Yeah,
and instead of dodging, I should have just flung it.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that game kind of had. Like everything recharges. Like that's the nice thing. Like you don't have to run around and try and find ammo. Like your ammo will just replenish, but you have to sort of be mindful of like how much you have and like where you're standing when you're shooting, so that you're not just out in the open.
Yeah.
Though I do wish that game did cover a little better.
Yeah, because you don't really like stick to cover.
Yeah.
You can duck down, but as soon as you try to aim or shoot, like you won't blind fire from behind cover.
Yeah, exactly. Rich, you think you're gonna play this at all?
Yeah, I have it downloaded. I have intentions to play it, but the first thing I want to play after Maneater, at least, is Resident Evil. So I might
fuck
switch
that.
back
Play Control. Play Control. Play Control.
No, I want to play Resident Evil. That's been a game that I bought in March of last year that I still haven't played.
It's okay. Play Control.
Oh man, that sucks. I forgot you bought that, and now it's a free game.
I bought it for like $20. Like it came bundled with Resident Evil 2 Remaster. And so I bought them both, and I played through Resident Evil 2. And then the 3 remaster came out, and I bought that and played that. And I was like, let me do 2 and 3, and then I'll get to 7. And I just never got around to playing 7 because other games came out that I was more interested in. And I'm honestly more interested in Resident Evil than Control, but Control looks fucking awesome, and I do.
Yeah, I mean, all that sort of like I feel like Control and Resident Evil, especially like 2 and 3, probably have a lot in common. Outside of the horror, like obviously Control's not a horror game, but just like weird setting, exploration, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Resident Evil, definitely darker, more pure horror, but Control's like paranormal horror.
Yeah.
But like, because there's some weird ass fucking shit in that game that's like, oh, what fuck?
Yeah, all the
I mean,
astral stuff is super weird.
I also have off on Monday. So, according to How Long to Beat, Resident Evil main plus extra is 11.5 hours. So, I might beat that this weekend, depending on how much I play of it. So, I might be playing Control by next week. Who knows?
Well, I guess it also depends, like, what time you wake up on all those days, because since you're afraid to play when it's dark out,
you only have till like 5:30 to play them.
I have a dog, so I'm up by 9 o'clock at the latest.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah. He sleeps on my bed. I'm up at 9 o'clock at the latest.
Just lock him in the room with Jensen and Kwame. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and their cat, sure.
Oh, do they keep the cat in the bedroom with them?
I mean, they have their door locked or not locked, but like cracked, and they have like a little like safety lock so that the dog can't get into their room because that's where the cat hangs out. But the cat does come out and throughout the night and stuff. But
Oh, okay.
I actually woke up this morning to one of the cat's toys in my slipper. So overnight, the cat grabbed its toy, walked it over, and dropped it in my slipper while the dog was sleeping. Yeah, while the dog was sleeping in the bed right next to me.
Hey, better a toy than like a dead mouse or something.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because then not only did the cat leave a dead mouse in your slipper, but you have to wonder where the fuck did the dead mouse come from? Like, do you have mice?
I mean, actually, that's I have our exterminator drop mouse bait, and he says that mice do get to some of it. So, luckily, it's working. I haven't seen a mouse since he started dropping mouse bait.
That's good. Do you use the same guy that we use still?
Yeah. He's a good guy, and his prices aren't bad.
Yeah, no, like it's $40 for us. He does outside, inside, downstairs, all this, everything.
Yeah, it's 50 for me, and same thing, outside, inside, downstairs, and drops mouse bait pretty much every month to every other month, depending on if I tell him. Like, he'll drop them at certain spots every other month, but he'll drop others at specific spots each month because he sees like, oh, they're getting to it there, so let's just make sure to keep dropping it there because that's where they're coming from.
Yeah, he's cool about leaving ant bait too, because like in the summer we get a lot of ants outside, and if we don't keep them in check, they'll start coming into like in the bedroom where like the air conditioner is, or in the kitchen window. Yeah. So like he'll leave us like extra bait so that we can like rotate it out after like a week or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, Control. You think you're gonna finish it up this week, Drew? Since it's not that long of a game.
Quite possibly. We'll see how this weekend goes.
And then Ultimate Edition, I believe, comes with the DLC.
I believe so.
Which from what I've heard, the DLC is not as good as the game, but it's still more Control. So like it's something. I know you don't have anything to like base it on, but how does like the PS5 version like look and play?
I feel like it plays pretty well. I am playing it on the like high resolution effectsy mode, and like the guys over at Giant Bomb have talked about how it doesn't seem to run real well, but I don't feel like I've run into any issues. But I haven't seen it running on like a PC to go, oh shit, no, this is not how this game should feel. And I've debated flipping over to the 60 frame per second mode, just the difference. I haven't felt like it runs poorly.
Yeah. Do you actually see a difference for 60 frames?
Oh, it's way more a feel thing. Like, I can tell you a game is running at 60 frames per second based on how it feels. Like, it's noticeable when you get the difference.
Yeah, see, I never noticed the difference. I can notice the graphical difference in performance mode, but I don't notice, like, a frame difference unless the frame rate is bad. Like jittery under 30, like, I notice. But if it's 30 or better, or it's, like, stable, like, I don't notice.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't have a complaint about it running at 30 at all, but, like, I could tell you a difference playing a game running at 30 and then playing a game running at 60. So I probably should, because you can just go change from the main menu at any time, so maybe the next time I load it up, I'll switch it over.
Because I think normally it just requires, like, you to reload the last checkpoint or something.
Yeah, and if I'm loading, it would be loading the checkpoint anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I actually just found out today that apparently that the statement I saw from Remedy about the save, it's the base game save doesn't copy over. So if you played like base Control on your PS5, you could not transfer it into the Ultimate Edition that you got for PS Plus.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
because I played Ultimate Edition on my Xbox, it was just the Xbox One version, that save should transfer up to the Series X version.
Okay.
Which I'm probably going to try that out like tomorrow or Friday or something just to see.
Yeah.
Because
It's
that would be nice
fucking
not having to
cool
start
game.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Before we move on, real quick, kind of sort of breaking news that was reported by the Hollywood Reporter at 4:30 today. They casted Ellie for the Last of Us series on HBO.
Oh, I didn't see Ellie. I saw reports on Joel though.
Hollywood Reporter is reporting that Bella Ramsey, who Cobb, you would know her as Lyanna Mormont from Game of Thrones. is Ellie.
the fucking
The badass
Yeah.
little girl. Yeah. Which I saw that Nerdist, it popped up from Nerdist on my on one of my push notifications on my PC, and they said from Hollywood Reporter at 4:30 today that they reporting that. So we're gonna get a pretty awesome Ellie.
yeah, like that little girl was like she was good at playing like a tough fucking character.
Yeah.
Wow, she's 17. She's a little old for Ellie. But you know,
Yeah,
she
but
might just look young too, so that might work.
She does look young, and like they could just age her up a little bit. They're still going out into Badlands, which they need she needs a fatherly figure for anyway, and blah blah blah. So
From what Drew was saying, the rumor for Joel was Mahershala Ali,
yeah.
but
They
I couldn't find that from any reputable source.
yeah. Nerdist had said something at the very bottom. Let's reopen that tab real quick and see what they said. The very bottom of the article, Neil Druckmann, Last of Us writer and creative director, is serving executive producer alongside Craig Mazin. The letter will also pen the script. Kadimir Baglov will direct the pilot. We're not sure who's playing Joel yet. Mahershala Ali was apparently talks, but it didn't work out. But with Ellie locked in, we're likely to learn about Joel. And they wanted Oscar Isaac to be their fan-casted Joel.
Yeah, I mean, he could do it. I think he actually might still be a little too young,
Probably, I think so.
because I think Joel's supposed to be like late 40s by the main chunk of that game.
Yeah, I think so too.
But again, like he can like makeup works wonders.
Yeah,
Like Hollywood's good at that shit.
yeah.
So this past week I watched two things, like two movie type things. The first one was an actual like movie. It's called What Happened to Monday. It's on Netflix. It takes place in like a quote unquote post-apocalyptic future. It's not quite apocalyptic. Like everyone still has homes and jobs and shit, but it's at a point where the population of Earth is so high that they have had to ration basically everything, and families are only allowed one child. If you have any more than one child, the second one or whichever one they catch basically gets taken and put in cryosleep for an indefinite amount of time. Like
That's weird.
You will never see that child again, basically, because
Yeah.
basically the idea is they're putting them to sleep until the world isn't overpopulated and they can be woken up to a world that isn't just fucked.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. So the movie follows the Stettins. I forget exactly what their last name was. It's it's 7 septuplets, I guess that would be.
Mm-hmm.
Would 7 children be septuplets?
Yes.
Yeah. So identical septuplets. They are named Monday through Sunday because that was the easiest way to name them. Their grandfather is Willem Dafoe, which is awesome.
Okay.
Nice. So the movie kind of splits between them in the present as adults and them as like little girls with being raised by their grandfather, Willem Dafoe. And he basically raises them to be the same person when they need to be. So when they're home with him, they can all be themselves. When they leave the house, though, they have to be the same exact person. So they all go by the name Karen when they're outside, and each one is allowed to go outside on the day they're named for. So Monday can leave on Monday, Tuesday can leave on Tuesday, that sort of thing. So when they're adults, or even when they're kids and like have school, like they each only go to school one day a week, and 2 of them don't have to go at all because it's the fucking weekend.
Yeah.
But same thing with work and everything. They can't really have like meaningful relationships with anybody or any of that stuff because if they get caught, like they're at least 6 of the 7 are going to be frozen and they'll never see each other again.
Yeah.
He also basically trains them like he builds like a secret hideaway hidden behind like a mirror that is like automated. Like he has a switch hidden on a bookshelf, like he's fucking Batman. That opens up so that the girls can all hide in it and one of them can stay out. Like, so that, it looks like he has one child living there.
Yeah.
And they still follow all these rules when I assume he's dead and they're adults because he is not in the movie in like the current timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But it's super interesting because early on in the movie, Monday goes to work and then never comes home. And then like as the movie plays out, like more of the sisters start to like either go missing or be killed entirely. There's some really crazy fucking fight scenes in it where like none of these five septuplets are not like special. Like they're not like combatants or anything like that. Like they don't have like fighting knowledge or anything like that. So like the times where they're being like hunted down by these like federal agent cop guys, they're fighting for their lives. They're like struggling and just doing whatever they can. At one point, like they get attacked in their apartment and like one of the sisters throws their freezer door open and it's like the bottom freezer and like hits one of these guys so hard in the knee that you hear his knees snap as he falls over it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they throw a pot of boiling water in one dude's face, break a hot iron over another guy's face. Like it's brutal.
Yeah.
They also this is also like a minor thing. Early when they're children, one of the sisters gets angry that she has to like hide like this and sneaks out of the house to go like skateboard, and she falls and actually rips the tip of her finger off, like from the second joint, like at the tip of your finger, like completely severs it. Like she shows up and like knocks on the door and like the grandfather opens it and her hand's all wrapped up and he unwraps it to look at it and it's literally just like dangling by some skin. And this like little like 8-year-old just fucking walked home like this. But then he turns around and has to cut off that tip of every girl's finger.
Yeah.
So that they always look the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. It is not the best thing I've seen where there's a bunch of people that look identical like that. I think the series Orphan Black did a much better take on that sort of story.
Yeah.
And the twist at the end was it was half really predictable, and then like the actual like reasoning for the twist I didn't totally expect. But it's worth watching. I think it was like an hour and a half or so. It's on Netflix, so like everyone fucking has Netflix at this point. And the other thing I watched.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, no, it if you have nothing else to watch, it's definitely worth checking out. The other thing I watched was the beginning, the making of Star Wars Episode 1. It's available on YouTube. It's like an hour long. It's right on Star Wars' like YouTube channel, so it's official from them. It was the like making of documentary that I believe was included on the DVD releases back in like the mid 2000s. Super interesting to kind of like see how like the production of that went. So it starts prior to filming. Like it starts with like casting and everything and storyboarding. Like you actually see a scene where George Lucas is standing in front of the storyboards with a pink and yellow highlighter. And he's coloring in things pink that are going to be special effect, and then coloring in things yellow that are going to be practical effects. And it's funny because like most people are just standing around like watching him, and they focus in on one dude who just looks terrified. And then at one point, like George Lucas messes up while he's doing it and like colors the wrong thing in, and he just kind of like hangs his head. He's like, "Damn it, I was doing so well too," and everyone laughs.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, like, George Lucas gets a lot of shit for those movies. I think a lot of it came down to, he apparently is not a good director. Like, he hadn't directed a movie in 30 years at that point, because he didn't direct Empire or Jedi. He only directed the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
So the impression I got from this was, he doesn't really direct a lot, like, on set. And he kind of alludes to that while he's meeting with his, like, assistant director. He's like, if I forget to say, like, cut or anything like that, just do it for me. Like, it seems like he is very much just here's the script, I'm going to sit here and watch, and we'll see what happens. And then tries to, what the editor actually says that George Lucas likes to direct in the editing room. So he likes to try and cut the movie to be what he wants it to be, rather than just getting the actors to, like, redo things and give them, like, notes on the spot. So I think that might be part of the reason why those movies are just not very good. Like, no, everyone just had his script to work with and didn't have like an outside view to direct it to like be like, all right, this isn't working. Let's try this instead. Cause like that's how a normal movie would go. But if your director is also your writer, he's just like, no, those are the words I wrote. Like this makes perfect sense. Trade deadlines and embargoes and blockades, Senate meetings.
Yeah.
But it also it shows that some of the casting, like it actually shows like the screen tests for Anakin, where he's actually reading lines with Natalie Portman, who super weird because it's like 97, so it's like a 16-year-old Natalie Portman. Also, she looks like a fucking child. I mean, she is a child, but it's weird because I'm used to like Natalie Portman that you see in stuff now. But there's 3 kids, so it's Jake Lloyd and 2 other kids. One kid was not good at all. But this other kid was actually really good. Do you guys remember in episode 1 that really shitty angel line that Anakin says?
Vaguely.
So it's when he first meets Padme in the thing. He says, "Are you an angel? They're supposed to be the most beautiful creatures in all the world, blah, blah, blah." Jake Lloyd delivering that line is just awful. Like, it feels so fake and forced and bad. But, like, this kid that also auditioned for it and did, like, the test, like, I bought it coming from him. Like, it sounded, like, genuine coming from this kid. But for some reason, apparently Jake Lloyd was, like, he was a little bit more of, like, like an unknown factor. Like, when he got something, it was great. But when he didn't get it, it was just kind of like, all right, well, let's just try again and see what happens. Mm-hmm. And they went with that instead of the kid that obviously had charisma and could fucking act at, like, the age of 7. Which honestly probably worked out because, like, those movies would have still probably not done real well just based on the script. And, like, Jake Lloyd did not have a great life.
No, not at all.
He is a very angry adult, unfortunately, because the internet sucks and was awful to him as a child.
Yep. I hate the internet. Yeah,
no, right there with you. They also show, like, Ewan McGregor, like, getting, like, the Padawan haircut with, like, the braid and everything. He also just seems very into the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's scenes of them training for, like, the lightsaber duels, and it's him and Ray Park, like doing the choreography, and he just seems super into it the whole time. Mm-hmm. At one point, after doing... They show some of the filming, and it's some of the filming from the actual fight, like the end fight with Darth Maul and Qui-Gon, and they show, like, a scene where, like, he's supposed to get, like, knocked off the platform and, like, falls to the one below it, and he just kind of, like, jumps onto an airbag, and that's how the cut happens. As he's getting off the airbag, he says something along the lines of, like, they asked, do I want to be in a Star Wars? Fucking A, I want to be in a Star Wars. Yeah. And, like, he's just, like, smiling and, like, happy as hell to, like, have just gotten thrown off a platform onto an airbag.
Yeah.
Also, wherever they filmed, like, the Tatooine scenes, it got to 135 degrees during the day. And, like...
Somewhere in Tunisia, I believe?
Yeah, it was somewhere in Africa. Like, in the desert, obviously. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, like, 135 degrees while they're filming. And, like, oh, fuck, I can't think of the guy's name. The guy that plays Jar Jar.
Okay, I fucking no idea.
Yeah, I used to know his name. He had to wear, like a heavy, thick suit. And it wasn't like a mocap suit. Like, they basically had him dressed up like Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Like, he wore, like, a suit that looked like Jar Jar that was, like, thick and rubbery. His face was exposed, but then he had a Jar Jar head, like, as a hat. Because they didn't know if they were going to fully animate him or use, like, his body as, like, a place marker to, like, draw things onto, basically. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, that had to have been the worst fucking experience. Like, wearing that suit in 135 degrees. Not to mention, like, the Jedi wearing the Jedi robes.
Yeah.
Ugh. But yes, it's actually, for a movie that is not very fondly looked back on, seeing how it was made and everything is actually super cool. And it basically goes through the whole timeline, like, from, like I said, from storyboarding to release. So, like, you see, like, the crowds, like, getting ready to watch the movie for the first time. And I think the final scene of the whole thing is actually, George Lucas writing down, Star Wars Episode 2, and then scene, space, ...
Yeah.
There was one really sad bit in there where, Frank Oz is doing Yoda stuff. And he then goes over and he watches, like, a monitor, and he's seeing some of the finished footage of Qui-Gon talking with Watto when they're, like, walking down, like, a street or something like that. And, like, the digital Watto, like, being Watto. And he says something along the lines of, like, oh, man, this is great, but you're not going to need me anymore soon. And George Lucas says, no, we're always going to need you. And then by the next movie, all the puppets are gone.
Yeah.
Yoda's just fucking a cartoon at that point. And Drew, you don't care much for Star Wars, do you?
No, not really.
Wow. Austin and Rob Zachney from Waypoint they're doing a Star Wars podcast.
I saw, and I'd be semi-interested in listening to that because I like the two of them.
It's called A More Civilized Age, a Clone Wars podcast.
Right.
They spent like 4 hours talking about episode 2. It was fucking great. Cause like, it's them. It's them plus 2 other people. Natalie Watson, who used to work at Waypoint, and Allie something, who is on Friends at the Table with Austin.
Okay.
And I guess Rob and Austin have watched Clone Wars. The other 2 sounds like they have not. So they basically, they watched episode 1 and 2, and now they're watching the Clone Wars. And then I assume when the Clone Wars finishes, they'll watch episode 3, and depending if they want to keep going, they'll go into like Rebels and stuff like that. But
all right,
like the first 2 episodes are super long, but it's a lot of fun to hear two people that actually know Star Wars talking about it with 2 people that don't really know Star Wars, and like them kind of like just joking about things. Especially because like Austin wrote a Star Wars book.
Right.
Or at least he wrote in a Star Wars book.
Yeah.
But that is actually where I found out about this documentary, because for both movies they watched a bunch of like the special features also, and then linked them in the show notes of the podcasts.
Huh.
But yeah, it's worth actually listening to if you just have time to kill.
Yeah, I saw Austin, I think, tweet about it, and I was like, huh, maybe.
So it seems like it's being released bi-weekly also.
Okay.
So it's spaced out a little bit easier to actually like not get bogged down with too many episodes.
Yeah.
Also, have you guys ever listened to podcasts at just 1.5 times speed?
No.
No.
It is way better for some stupid fucking reason.
I don't know that. I mean, I don't know. I can't say because I've never done it and never will.
So, because you still use Podcast Addict most of the time, right?
It's that or Spotify.
So I don't know if Spotify will do it, because I've actually never had the Spotify app. But on Podcast Addict, you can easily just like bump things up to different increments. Set something at 1.5 times for like 5 minutes and just listen to it. It's fast enough that it obviously makes the episode go quicker, but it doesn't really distort or make it hard to understand anybody. Like, it's like that perfect in between of being like somebody like talking too fast where they just sound like they're being fast forwarded, and like everything just being a little quicker.
I generally, for the podcast I listen to, I don't know that I would want that ever. Like, I don't want to have to be keeping up with it at a faster pace than they would normally.
That's fair. I only started doing it because I was getting so behind on podcasts, and like doing that, like I can fit more podcasts in a day, so I was actually able to catch up on everything. And I didn't have to, like, at least for me, I didn't have to focus any differently than I already do.
Yeah, I mean, my solution to that has just been delete. Just not going to listen to it.
Yeah, no, I started doing that too. Like, I deleted a whole bunch of stuff, but it was like stuff that I wanted to listen to. It's just like, I don't have time for all of this. Like, there's other things I have to do also. So I'm like, I'm just going to listen to these a little faster now.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, Rich, you're caught up on WandaVision, right?
Yes, I've watched every episode, and I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah. So I know that the outline makes it look really long. I don't want to do like a play-by-play. I just put this on here so that we both had a reference to like what happened in the last 2 episodes. So like, if you haven't seen WandaVision up to episode 5, like skip like 20 minutes.
All right, I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Well, you're never going to watch it. What do you care?
Yeah, but I also will have nothing to contribute.
No, you can just chime in with bullshit. It'll be fine.
All right, we'll see.
So episode 4 is the first episode that actually takes place out of Westview.
And my least favorite episode of them.
Which is weird. I loved that episode.
So the episode ends at the same point we're at the end of episode 3. I understand why they did it, but I hated that, like, we didn't really get anywhere further. It just really fleshed out things that have already happened, and I just was like, I mean, it's saying it's my least favorite episode isn't saying much, because they're all really good episodes, but of the 5 so far, this one was the one that I was like, I kind of wish you didn't spend an entire half hour on a limited run series that most of it is the end credits on an episode of stuff that already happened, essentially.
But so it wasn't so much stuff that already happened. It was showing us what was happening on the outside world. Like it finally gave us. I mean, the one thing I liked was us getting to see what actually happened after everyone was snapped back.
Yeah, we got a small bit of what happened after the blip, and we got to learn about Monica or Geraldine, and her character arc leading into the show, and how she got into the Hex, and then like they got to reintroduce like some fan favorite characters, but just for me overall, it was just like I just the thing I hated the most was that this is a 9 episode series, and one full episode got us nowhere, and it didn't do anything for me. It didn't raise any more questions for me, and it didn't really give me too many answers, if any at all.
See, we have actually complete opposite opinions on that one then, because like it does actually like bring up questions for me, like why was Monica able to enter? Like nobody else could.
The beekeeper entered.
Yeah, but Wu said that he couldn't enter, and like nobody else could even understand what it was.
Did Wu say he couldn't enter?
I believe so.
I mean, I don't think anybody tried to enter. Like, I don't see her being able to enter as, like, a question. Like, the beekeeper was able to enter.
But it's not only that, but, like, she entered and was, like, subconsciously integrated into it. Whereas, like, the beekeeper wasn't.
I mean, maybe he was. Like, maybe he was a beekeeper. Or maybe he thought he was a beekeeper, and then she just rewrote him not being there. Like, we have not gotten the beekeeper's story.
But that's what I mean. Like she just rewrote him being there. She obviously knew that Geraldine, like, and like just the whole fact that she didn't realize Geraldine wasn't supposed to be there until that scene at the end of episode 3.
And I think that leads to, like, she was, like, her, like, the same with the beekeeper. The beekeper, he was showing in a beekeeper costume, but he had the sword logo. And at this point, we had seen the sword logo with the helicopter, and then with this guy, like, Geraldine like you said, fully integrated. Her clothes matched same as his did, and the beekeeper himself probably thought he was supposed to be there and was a beekeeper. Like, we don't know anything about the beekeeper. It's just, to me, it didn't really give me too much.
So, I disagree with you. And the fact that, like, the guy still looked like a beekeeper, even though, like, Geraldine didn't look like she got different clothes. Like, she got clothes and a hairstyle that fit the time. Like, why didn't the guy in the hazmat suit get changed to something that was just normal? You know what I mean?
I mean, her clothes got changed into clothes of that time because she was wearing clothes of the modern time, like.
But she also, like, her clothes kept changing with the times. Like Agnes says, she had no home.
Yeah.
Like, she was basically just going and disappearing, like, under, like, a park bench for, like, a night, and then popping up in, like, different clothes for the next episode. Like I said, I think that it actually brought up more things that, like, just, like, well, why is this like this for them, but not like this for the other, and.
Yeah, I don't know, for me, I was less intrigued about it, and more annoyed with the fact that, like I said, a full episode on and no real progression, because then they did proper with pacing for episode 5. Like episode 5, where it jumped back and forth between the Hex world and the real world. It worked. I was like, this is kind of what I feel like episode 4 should have been. I understand why they did it though, is because they had 3 straight episodes of nothing about the Hex world, and they needed to catch us up. I got it. I just wasn't.
But also, better to do it at episode 4 than to wait till episode 7 and then try to catch us up on it.
Oh, yeah, or maybe do it sooner, like episode 3. Like,
well, doing it again, episode 3
but,
wouldn't have made sense because it was at the end of 3 where we find out, like, this is actually like a bubble somewhere.
I know that, but I'm saying like I don't know. It's the episode lengths of this show, and the fact that they took a full episode to not really progress much. Like, that's where, like, yeah, we got to learn about Sword a little bit more and stuff, but I just was like, I don't know. It was my least favorite of all of it. That's really all I can say.
Also,
like,
keep in mind that, like Kevin Feige even said it. They're not doing their series based on any set number, like lengthwise. Like the show is as long as it needs to be to tell the story. So it's not like this being 9 episodes means that one episode like impacts the story. If they didn't do that episode, it might only be an 8-episode thing, or we'd have an episode of just nonsense filler that just wouldn't matter at all. Because from what he said, they write they write out like a plan for the show to determine how long the show is going to be.
But what I mean, like, I don't know if they're going to go with a season 2 of WandaVision.
I mean, probably not.
Like,
There's no reason to.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, to limit, like, friggin' episode 1, half of the episode was credits. Like, it was a 25-minute episode, and like the credits were almost longer than the episode itself.
Yeah, they're standard length. They're 22-minute episodes, and then there's 6 minutes of credits because they also have credits for all of the dub languages in there.
And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I just, like I said, I wasn't impressed with episode 4.
It's fine. You can have a bad opinion every once in a while.
I thought episode 4 was just like, I was happy to see these new characters, and I was interested, like, what they showed us, I was like, okay, we needed to know this, but, like, I kind of wish they did it in a different way. I understand why they did it that way. A full episode dedicated to the outside world for me was just, I'm more in this about, like, I love the show because of the, like, the sitcom references and shit like that, and like the inner world of the Hex. Like, if this show was nothing but just inside the Hex and weird shit happening, I'd be happy. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like I've said, I liked episode 4. I liked getting an idea of sort of what was actually going on, but still not knowing what's going on. Like, finding out that Darcy was the one watching them at the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But, like, so episode 5 does go back into, like, it's mostly inside of Westview again.
Yeah.
The opening theme this time, I believe, was Growing Pains in Full House.
Probably.
So it had the portraits and then, like, the baby pictures, and that was definitely Growing Pains.
It was a late 80s, early 90s, like, sitcom theme for that episode.
Yeah, like, every one has been, like a homage to something else.
Yeah, it was, Lucy and Dick Van Dyke in episode 1, Jeannie in episode 2.
Bewitched in episode 2.
Bewitched and Jeannie.
Wait, did I Dream of Jeannie have an animated one too? Yeah, it probably did.
So. And then episode 3, I actually don't remember what episode.
It was like the 70s, so probably like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, that's right. It was the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch and what is that other family? Partridge Family.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then this one was definitely, it was very much Growing Pains and Full House. Like it had them like walking through the park together like Full House, and like I said, like the baby pictures and stuff like Growing Pains.
Yeah.
So just because it happened at the end of episode 3 and we never talked about 3, Wanda became pregnant and then in episode 3 had her babies.
Mm-hmm.
And in this episode they suddenly aged themselves up to like 10.
Yeah, they find a dog and Vision's like, well, we can't have a dog until you're 10, and so they just make themselves grow up to 10.
Yeah. So the one thing I liked about the dog, in the Vision comic series that Tom King wrote, they also had a dog named Sparky. Mm-hmm. That's the book where Vision made himself a family, and his wife was actually based on Wanda's brainwaves. But she also lost it like Wanda and started killing people to like keep her family safe. But one of the things she inadvertently killed the neighbor's dog, and then that became Sparky.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was like a nice little nod to that comic.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of that episode, though, when Agnes shows up, there's that weird moment where like she's talking to Wanda and Vision about like watching the kids or something like that, and like Vision doesn't like respond to it the way she expected, so she like asks Wanda if she wants her to try it again. Like it's like it's a scene, not something really happening.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the show. Like, I think it was episode 3 at one point. I can't remember what was happening, but it literally skips back. It, like, cuts to black, it skips back immediately. Like, and redoes a scene. And I, like, when I first watched it, I was like, did my internet fuck up, or did the video fuck up? No, that's part of the fucking show.
Yeah, it's the same way that, like, at the end of episode 2, when the beekeeper comes up and Wanda goes, no, this isn't right, and, like, literally rewinds everything.
Yeah.
There's actually, like, it gets mentioned later on too. But I thought that whole scene with Agnes was in contrast to one that happened later with Vision at his work, where like he basically unlocks one of his coworkers' like memories, and that dude seems to be like trapped and in pain and just wants to like go back to his family.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, like, are all of these people under like a spell, or are some of them actually like okay with what's going on?
And it yeah, like you have to wonder, like, is he on is that guy I can't remember his character's name, is he under a spell, and is Agnes not with Agnes? But like, there's a lot of people saying Agnes is the actual BB, the big bad of the series.
There's also people that think that she is Agatha Harkness, which is like another like witch character from Marvel that has a history with Wanda.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading, is a lot of people thinking it's Agatha. And I like, so it's like maybe like that's why she doesn't, like, she was able to be like, do you want me to redo that? Because like she's not under the spell, and she's part of the hex. She's part of what's going on.
Yeah, and it also seems like is the neighbor's name Herb? I think, right?
Yes. Yeah.
In episode 3, when Vision was talking to them outside while Geraldine was inside, they both seemed to understand that like things were different.
Yeah.
And just I skipped over this, but their 2 kids are actually their kids from the comics too.
Mm-hmm.
Billy and Tommy are. I don't know exactly how it works, but like they had children, and then their children got like undone from reality, but then something happened and they were like brought back to reality. But they're the children of somebody else now. Like they're not Wanda and Vision. Like they have like just normal human parents.
Mm-hmm.
But Billy inherited like magic, kind of like Wanda's, and Tommy actually inherited like speed, like Quicksilver.
Yeah. So
like they've both been like young Avengers and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, like all that stuff, like who is aware of things and who is like completely brainwashed is really interesting.
Yeah.
And then as you said before, like this episode also is where it splits things, like where you see some of the outside world too. And so in the outside, they decide to send a drone in. And that's where Darcy makes a reference to Wanda controlling what they're seeing on this like TV show. Because they don't see the drone in the shot, and she says something about, oh, it's just like all the jump cuts. So like every time that like something just jumps from one scene to another, so you don't see like what's actually happening. Or like in episode 3 where you have the scene of Wanda telling Geraldine she doesn't belong there, but then it cuts to Vision talking with the 2 people outside, and you never see the Geraldine being expelled from the town until the end of episode 4.
Yeah.
Which actually, we didn't talk about that, but I thought that scene in episode 4 was actually very cool. Like, just the way they did it, where they brought you back into the TV, and then they did the 4x6 screen, and then they stretched it to the 16x9.
That's also one of the things that I really love about the show. Anytime it jumps from world to world, the ratio, the aspect ratio of the screen changes.
Yeah.
Like,
but
and I wonder if like maybe it does become a more modern sitcom, if that's also going to extend. Like if they do get to the 2000s or 2010s.
Yeah, I wonder that too, actually.
I don't know what sitcom, like, what if we get an Office / Parks and Rec episode?
Or like a How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, like the single camera, one set shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, or even just the, like, because like How I Met Your Mother had a lot of those like non sequiturs, I guess they'd be like the Family Guy, basically, where it's like, hey, remember that time that we saw like an elephant?
Yeah, exactly.
What was I going to say though? But aside from like it stretching like that, just seeing what actually happened to Geraldine, and then that scene where Vision comes in and asks like where she went, and Wanda for a moment sees him as the like dead shell of Vision from the end of Infinity War, where like the Mind Stone had been ripped from his head.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, but weird. But yeah, so they sent the drone in, they tried to kill her, and then Wanda just comes the fuck out and basically tells them to all go to hell. And I thought that was a really cool scene.
Which then also raises the question, is she being mind controlled or controlled in any way, or is she literally just doing this herself? Like, what is it? What is going on? Like, she's dealing with some hard shit because she lost her brother, and then a few years later she lost her love, and and then she was gone for 5 years and then showed back up, and it's just like, is she being the villain, or is there a villain somewhere behind this?
Yeah, like, is there somebody pulling her strings to do this thing? It's like, well, if you just went and got Vision's body, you have the power to just create your own reality where you guys could just be happy together.
Yeah.
And actually, that was another thing they said in episode 4. She broke into a sword facility and stole Vision's body.
Yeah, which apparently that was before they decided to cut the post-credit scene in Endgame. Something like that was supposed to be the post-credit scene.
Oh.
Was like Vision's body. Like, I think if it's in like the deleted scenes, you know, on the DVD or something, is like something with Vision's body.
I'm actually surprised and a little confused it ended up at a sword facility, though.
Well, he was a sentient weapon.
I mean, that's true, but he was also, he died at, like, on one, like, in Wakanda. Like, they're not exactly the most forthcoming society, and frankly, they know more about technology than Sword does. So I just figured that he would have either stayed there or been locked down at like the Avengers complex.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is weird, but like 5 years and there's no real Avengers kind of makes sense.
That's
that,
true.
Like, some overseeing organization would have taken his body instead.
Yeah, that's true, because you figure like during those 5 years, like the Avengers were really just like it was the people that were on the run, basically.
Yeah.
Because like Tony gave that up. Like Bruce went and turned himself into the Hulk all the time. So
yeah,
there wasn't really like a scientist left at like the Avengers compound to like keep an eye on that shit. But yeah, her coming out of the like dome, like in her like Avengers gear,
with an accent.
Yeah, I mentioned that in here. I actually went back and rewatched a couple of the scenes today just to make sure that I wasn't mishearing that. Like,
no, yeah, she in the hex, she has no accent. Outside of the hex, she has her accent.
So what I think it is, I think it's supposed to be like emotional. So when she comes out of the hex, like she's fucking pissed. So, cause like her accent's not as thick as it was in Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that, like little hints of it, like that you'd expect somebody to have when their emotions are kind of boiling over, and they have to actively try not to talk that way.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't really had the accent since Age of Ultron. Like she didn't have it in Civil War.
In Civil War and in Infinity War, she had the accent wasn't as thick, but it was still like it was an accent of somebody who like had spent time in English speaking countries and like worked on it and didn't.
The reasoning I read, like the in-universe reasoning, was like she was training with Black Widow to blend in.
Yeah.
Like Black Widow was Russian. Like technically she should sound Russian, but she doesn't. But yeah, I thought that scene was just very good, especially her basically telling them like to just fuck off.
Yeah.
And then using her powers to mind control every soldier to point their gun at the douchebag in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was good stuff. And then, I guess she superpowered the barrier after that, or something?
That's what it seems like. She was able to, like, make it so that anyone she didn't want in there couldn't get in there now, or something like that. Like, we're not really sure. That happened midway to near the end of episode 5. Yeah,
and then the episode kind of ends with Vision and her having an argument where like we find out that like Vision really doesn't know anything about what happened.
Yeah.
Like,
so he has no memory. Like he has no memory pre-hex.
Yeah,
is kind of what he said. Like, so it seems like he doesn't even have memory of like the Civil War, of Endgame, or of Infinity War. None of that.
Yeah, like he just seems like he just came into existence in Westview.
Yeah, like he knows he has powers. He knows he's special. He knows he can do mind stuff, which is crazy. He can do mind stuff when he doesn't have a Mind Stone. But also, she might have been able to recreate the Mind Stone or something.
So I don't know that she recreated it. I think that he has whatever powers she thinks he should have.
Yeah.
So because this vision of the Vision still has the Mind Stone, he has all of the powers that would come with the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
But yeah, like and then the big fuck you at the end of this episode was that they're arguing, and then there's a knock at the door, and she opens the door, and it's motherfucking Evan Peters Quicksilver from the X-Men movies.
Yeah, which was friggin' great.
And like Darcy even actually says when it cuts to her, she recast Pietro.
Yeah.
So like they're even acknowledging that like this is fucking weird.
Well, yeah, it is, and like this is supposed to lead into the multiverse of madness, and there are slightly further reports that like Spider-Man is going to be a multiverse type movie. That like it's bringing in everything that Marvel didn't have into the MCU by introducing this Pietro as the Quicksilver from the mutants as her actual brother.
Yeah, I do wonder, like, so this Quicksilver in 2020 would be 80?
He'd be like, not 80.
So he was in his 20s in the 70s. So 60?
Oh, right. Yeah, it is 2020. It's not. I was like, he'd be 50. No, in the 70s, from the 70s to now, I still think it's 2000. Yeah, I mean, probably, but yeah, maybe he ages differently because of his powers.
But I mean, like, yeah, all of them don't age correctly.
Yeah.
But like, that's like its own bag of issues. Like, they shouldn't have done 10-year gaps with these characters, because even Rose Byrne's character, Moira, like, did not look 30 years older when she popped back up in another movie.
Yeah.
Like, she looked maybe 10 years older. They gave her some eye wrinkles and some gray hair, and they're like, no, she's like 30 years older than she was last time we saw her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be weird. Like, that makes the next episode exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I've been hooked for the show since it came out. I've loved every second of it.
Now,
it's been great.
Did you catch the stuff in the commercial this week?
I was reading your thing. Lagos was where they were fighting Crossbones, but they also mentioned Lagos in episode 5 before they actually did the commercial.
Oh, I missed that. But the thing about that was the line at it. So Lagos is where Wanda inadvertently killed like a building full of people because Crossbone was going to blow himself up next to Cap.
Yeah.
The tagline at the end of the commercial was Lagos for when you make a mess you didn't mean to.
Yeah. I did catch that.
Yeah, and I thought that was very dark.
It was, but it's like it's her working through her things, and it was a mess she didn't mean to, like, she didn't mean to kill those people.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks that she did, and like, but it happened, and yeah.
But yeah, so Evan Peters is in the MCU. I don't know who else from the X-Men they would potentially bring into it, because a lot of those actors are kind of old now. Like a lot of the ones that people would want to see, at least, because I don't think anyone has like fond enough memories of the majority of like the First Class through Dark Phoenix people.
Everyone's going to want like the original X-Men casting. Right now, the only one that we're probably most likely going to get is Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool.
Yeah.
And until we find out otherwise, like, they might recast all of the X-Men again, which I would be fine with, as long as you do better casting than the last one did.
I mean, look, I don't think... Did you ever see, like Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix?
I saw Apocalypse, I didn't see Phoenix.
So, like, I don't think... Even Days of Future Past, like, I think those characters, or, like, those actors were fine for those movies. Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix were just bad movies.
Yeah, and that's what it is. You don't want to bring in the characters from bad movies. You want to bring in fresh characters, or you want to bring in the characters from good movies that people think fondly of. Yeah,
like Patrick Stewart, I think already said he doesn't want to do it. Ian McKellen might, like, who knows? But like they could, like, I don't think it would be like completely wrong if they tried to use like McAvoy and Fassbender.
No.
Yeah, I would have said those two for sure.
Yeah, because the first two of those like rebooted X-Men movies were actually really good. First Class and Days of Future Past are phenomenal. And even like some of the other like ancillary characters in there, like Evan Peters was good in Days of Future Past. I can't think of the guy's name, but the guy that played Beast,
Oh yeah. The fuck is his name?
He played Tolkien in the J.R.R. Tolkien movie.
Yeah. He's got like a German name.
Nicholas Hoult?
Yes,
yeah, that's it.
I
wanted to say Christoph Waltz, but I knew that wasn't.
Yeah, no, that's.
Listen, if they would have cast Christoph Waltz as something, I'm all there for.
But yeah, like I think the people
he can be the new Magneto.
Yeah, there you go. I do think like the people in those first two would probably be okay. I think in a lot of cases, like, the people that were in X-Men and X2 from, like, the 2000s, like, they're 20 years older now. Like,
Yeah, they're kind of aged out.
yeah, like, to cast them as these characters means that you're very quickly not going to have a Cyclops or a Jean Grey or any of them. Like, you're going to have to go to, like, the New Mutants at that point. And, like, frankly, people that aren't comic book fans aren't familiar with, like, those weird secondary mutants because there's fucking 3 billion of them. Like, they know the cast that were in those movies and they know the people from, like, the cartoon in the 90s. Like, if it's not like Wolverine or Cyclops, they don't fucking care.
Like, I watched X-Men Evolution recently. Like, I didn't realize the quote New Mutants were in there. I just thought they were additional just mutant characters, but like Boom Boom, what was Maisie Williams' character's name from the actual
Wolfsbane.
Like, pretty much Wolfsbane, pretty much all of those characters from the New Mutants movie were in X-Men Evolution season 2 and beyond.
I think one of the other X-Men series had a lot of those characters too. It's weird because, like, the New Mutant, like the characters that are associated with the New Mutants have been around for like 35 years at this point. Like, they were all introduced in like the mid 80s. So like, it's not like they're new characters. It's just they were new enough in the 90s that when the X-Men first started really being like put into like media, they just weren't prominent. And that still seems to be the same cast of characters that all the cartoons and movies stick to. It's Professor X with your Cyclops and your Jean and your Beast and your Nightcrawler and your Wolverine, you know, like, so like we've never even really gotten like a good like Jubilee. We got like Ellen Page was fine as
Elliot.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. They were fine as Kitty Pryde in the third movie, but like that was a bad movie.
They were just in Phoenix and Days of Future Past.
Yeah, that's right, because they did they took over Rachel's spot, maybe?
Yeah, they weren't supposed Shadowcat wasn't supposed to have the ability to send Wolverine back to the past, but somehow did.
So in Days of Future Past, Kitty is the one sent to the past.
Yeah.
I think that's how they figured that one was okay.
Well, it was like she had the power to what was it? She had the power to like send somebody back to the past, but they had to have been there or something, which is why they chose Logan.
Yeah,
and also he would be able to perfectly recover from this.
Well, I think that was part of the reason in the movie too. Was like because of his healing factor, like his brain would actually heal itself from the trauma, whereas like Magneto or Professor X wouldn't.
Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, I'm excited for Friday. 2 days away. I can't wait to watch and see what comes from a mutant Pietro instead of MCU Pietro.
Well, we assume a mutant Pietro. We don't know that for sure.
Well, yeah,
we can assume
it might just be somebody from the MCU that like she casted as Pietro. Like a lot of the people who are in the Hex have different names than what their real life name are.
That's true. That is true. So just last couple of things we have for this week. I watched Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 2019 movie. It was not good. I did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That movie's definitely not for you.
Yeah, no, it's like it's a generic disaster movie. Like there's not enough monsters fighting monsters. It's a lot of people talking about things that were poorly written in the script.
Yeah, that's pretty much Godzilla. You got it. There's never really like, yes, the monsters are a main focal point, but you're right. Most Godzilla movies are disaster movies about giant monsters. And there's always that underlying human story in every one of them, or in a lot of the previous era or the first era alien-based stories. But yeah, they always have something to do with saving the planet and saving the environment and shit too. So
yeah, it's a shame. Like that movie, like the cast of that movie is good. The script was not. It was super disjointed and all over the place. Like you never actually gave a fuck about a single person, except maybe Ken Watanabe a little bit.
Well, and Ken Watanabe was in the first Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
So you would have had a more. He's the only character from the first Godzilla movie of this series to be in this one.
Yeah. And
so you would have had a more of a relationship with him, and then you see what happens with him.
But like because it's a Hollywood movie, they seem to always put more budget into showing buildings falling over than to actually showing good, clear shots of the creatures doing it. Like, Godzilla looks super cool. Like, I
Yeah.
100%, but, like, Mothra was super hard to, like, make out for most of the movie. Rodan just looked fake. Like, looked incredibly, incredibly fake.
Well, I mean, like, that's the thing about these high-budget movies. It's cheaper to do things in the dark or in the rain because it doesn't have to be as textured.
Yeah, no, I get it, but it's like, pull back that budget a little bit, have them fight in fucking, like, the woods. This way you don't have to spend $300 million on, like, buildings falling down, and, like, make the monsters look fucking cool.
But you see, then that doesn't really bring up a disaster.
I'm fine with that.
There's no threat. If they fight in the woods, then you're watching Power Rangers, which, don't get me wrong, fucking love Power Rangers. But if they fight in the woods, there's not really a threat. It is just straight up monsters fighting, and then like, yes, that's what you're paying to see, but, like, then it doesn't have to be a movie. It can be 20 minutes long.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Well, I'm just saying, like, don't call it Godzilla King of the Monsters when really, like, most of the monsters they don't even show you, like, a good shot of. Like, they introduce all of these other monsters that are roaming the world, and you just get, like, these brief little glimpses of them.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't know, like, the movie isn't supposed to focus... I mean, yeah, it's supposed to focus mostly on Godzilla and Ghidorah, so, like, the other monsters, like, I don't know, didn't really have, like, that big of a, like, need to see them, like, you just had to see that they acknowledge Godzilla as the alpha at the end of the movie.
I don't know, it's just, like I said, if it would have either had a better script where you actually give a fuck about the people, or actually showed us the monsters, I feel like it would have been astronomically better.
Yeah, I totally, I understand that, like, I love the movie. It's not one of my favorites in the whole series so far, but I did love the movie.
Because, like, you and I talked about it a little bit, but, like, Kong Skull Island, there's plenty of shots of Kong and other big monsters in it. Like, there's cool action. It's in the woods. Well, it's in a jungle. Yeah. But, like, the characters are interesting. Whether you like them or not is a different story, because some of them really suck. But, like, you want to watch those characters. And, like, I mean, Kong Skull Island had a better cast than Godzilla did, but, like, Godzilla still had a pretty good cast.
I mean, it did, but at the same time, the main cast, there weren't really any big names in the main cast. Like, Ken Watanabe is, like, and who's the tech guy from, I can't even remember their name right now.
Oh, like the guy that was, like, on the computers and stuff the whole time? Yeah. What is his name?
What
Bradley Whitford.
Yeah, Bradley Whitford. And then you have 11, and then you have the villain. But besides that, like, the main cast, the two main people, I have no idea what the fuck either of them are from.
All right, so Kyle Chandler, he's from Early Edition, the late 90s, early 2000s show about the guy who received the newspaper the day before it happened, and could then go track down, like, the people that were involved in, like, murders and violent crimes and save them.
Yeah, I remember that show. Does nothing for me.
Yeah, he's also been on, like, Friday Night Lights and a bunch of other TV shows. And then Vera Farmiga is actually pretty popular too. Like, she's in all of those Conjuring movies as Elizabeth Warren, like the paranormal person. She was also she played Norman Bates' mother in Bates Motel for all 5 seasons or whatever.
So those are all things that I don't have interest in. So I've never seen them. So I don't. But, like, that's like. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like they
Thomas Middleditch was in it. I forgot about him for a second there.
Yeah, Middleditch was cool, but he didn't really get to shine.
Yeah, he had, like, some funny moments.
Yeah, and that like you said, you're right. Like, it was, the script is cheesy, campy, and just not that great. But it, like, overall, like, for me and for a kaiju fan, it was a great movie. But, like, I do understand where you come from, where it's like,
and Tywin Lannister was in it.
Yeah, he was the main villain.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I said. Like, besides the main villain and a handful of other side actors, like, the two main people that this movie was about, I knew nothing about them.
Yeah, see, I knew who both of them were. So that's why I said, like, it actually had, like, the cast for Kong was better, but, like, this didn't have, like, a bunch of just, like, bullshit people I've never heard of. Mm-hmm. It just, the script was very bad.
Yeah. And like, something we said earlier, like, or we said to each other, The Kong movies have always been a different kind of movie, whereas Godzilla movies have always been like that sort of disaster.
Drew, which do you prefer, Kong or Godzilla?
Definitely Godzilla.
Oh, God, you suck.
Lizard monsters are better than giant.
There you go.
Disagree. You know what? I will say, better disaster movie than either of the Godzilla movies? Fucking Rampage with The Rock.
That was a
you're
fun
probably
movie.
right.
That was a fun movie.
It's got a giant monkey, a giant wolf, and a giant crocodile. It covers the full spectrum of things you want to see destroying things. And I'm pretty sure at one point The Rock and the gorilla fist bump.
They do a few times.
Like when the gorilla is already oversized.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
they do a few times.
And the gorilla plays fucking practical jokes.
Yeah.
Like, Godzilla doesn't play practical jokes. He just huffs and puffs and shoots fucking blue magic out of his mouth.
It's radiation magic, okay? It's radioactive magic.
Also, what the fuck with them just destroying this hidden city under the ocean? What a bunch of idiots.
I mean, they had to. It was hidden ruins, but they had to recharge Godzilla so that he could fight Ghidorah. Otherwise, Ghidorah was going to kill things.
That's fine.
But they ended up destroying all of Boston anyway. So
That is
stopping
also
Ghidorah-
fine. No one
Like,
really likes Boston. Now,
oh,
look, now they can
absolutely.
rebuild that city with an actual grid pattern instead of just the fucking thrown spaghetti that fucking place
Yeah.
already is.
Yeah. Yes.
But anyway, you watched an actual real Godzilla movie with Godzilla versus King Ghidorah.
So along the lines of you watching Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, I watched Godzilla vs. Ghidorah. This movie was weird. It's the third in the 90s era, and they fucked with time travel. And you guys know how I feel about time travel. If it's not done right, I get mad at it. And it wasn't done right.
I mean, here's the simple solution: time travel is never done right.
There are times that it's done right.
No.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing: they go back in time from the future to move Godzilla from where he was to a different point in that same era, so that he doesn't get hit with the radiation, the Godzillasaurus, so it doesn't get hit with radiation from testing atomic weapons, so that he doesn't turn into Godzilla. And in doing so, they also drop off a couple of little creatures, which end up turning into Ghidorah. In doing so, and going back to their to current time, they undid Godzilla, which means they never would have gone back in time to undo Godzilla, which means they never should have undone Godzilla. Like, they fucked it up. Like, and then the thing is, like, Godzilla ended up, they moved him to a spot where he was absorbing radiation from a sunken submarine and turned into Godzilla. But it's a different Godzilla, and everyone still knew of Godzilla, even though they erased all of Godzilla. So 1954's Godzilla and all the other Godzillas since then have never happened, but everyone still knew Godzilla. Like, it just, the time travel for this, just, it all fucked up, and I was like, why did you have to fuck with time travel? Why? And so, like, they set up these creatures which absorbed the radiation, turned into Ghidorah, where these people from the future were able to control Ghidorah and had Ghidorah attack Japan. This new Godzilla comes out of the water and kills the Ghidorah, but then they say, oh, well, he's a new and different Godzilla, not nice, so he's not going to fight to protect us anymore. So you just screwed yourself. So then somebody from the future goes back to the future to get the body of dead Ghidorah and turn it into Mecha Ghidorah so she could drive Mecha Ghidorah and stop Godzilla and bring him into the ocean and stop him from destroying Tokyo or Japan. And I'm just like, you went too far, guys. You went too far.
Or they didn't go far enough.
No, they went too far. Like, it's just, the fight between Godzilla and Ghidorah was cool, and like the idea of like the people from the future coming to the past because they wanted to warn the people of the past about Godzilla. Like, I mean, it just it didn't work. It didn't work, and now that is canon. It is canon in this era that 1954 Godzilla never existed, even though everyone acknowledges 1954 Godzilla did the first attacks. And then 1986 and 1988 and this now Godzilla all existed but didn't exist. And it's just, I'm just like, no, you just screwed it all up.
Wait, I'm sorry. Look, this is still the 80s or is this the 90s?
It should be the 90s at this point. I think this is 92.
Okay. I couldn't remember because I remember that the first one of this era was like 84. I think you said.
I think it was 84, 88. Let's just scroll down to the week. 84, 89, 91. So
Okay.
This one was 91. It's just like it didn't work. But like, I never knew that Mecha Ghidorah was like a Megazord basically, which was fucking ridiculous. That like it was just this person went back to the future, fixed or healed Ghidorah, and then was driving it to fight Godzilla. Yeah, it was bonkers. And it just like it went too far. But it's like it's funny because like the Godzillasaurus was a dinosaur on an island in the Japanese waters that helped save some of the Japanese soldiers during the war, and then atomic testing turned him into Godzilla, which then he attacked in 54, and then didn't attack again for 30 years until the return of Godzilla in 84. And then he basically became a good guy after fighting Biollante in 89, and then just leaving because they defeated him. And then the people from the future came from the future to the past to go back to the past before 1950 and move that Godzilla. So that Godzilla never existed. So like Biollante never happened either, because in order for them to make Biollante, they needed the cells of Godzilla. And then King Ghidorah was just around for 40 years before they even used him, before they even knew that he existed, where these people from the future like had control of him. And I'm like, none of it worked. But it was a fine movie. It's not good. It's definitely not the worst. It's just like that little hole in it makes me just not like it a little bit more. But it's still like an enjoyable.
Which I mean, that's a bummer that sort of turned you off to it. But at least you didn't hate the movie.
Yeah, and I watched it dubbed because I watched it on YouTube. And the dubbing was actually decent for this one, and the voiceovers were decent for this one.
I wonder if by the 90s they had just kind of gotten that shit together.
I think so, because like the last ones that I had seen that were dubbed were Destroy All Monsters, which was in 68, and King Kong vs. Godzilla in 62. So yeah, but so
Wait,
next week
I thought Kong and Godzilla was earlier than that. Was it really 62?
It was 54, 55, 62. So Godzilla Raids Again, and then King Kong vs. Godzilla.
Yeah, for some reason in my head I keep thinking Kong and Godzilla was like a late 50s movie.
I mean, it was the third movie, so it was. I mean, 62 kind of is the late 50s. Like
no,
really
that's
50s.
The early 60s.
It's the really late 50s if you look at it that way.
Look, you were just bitching about how time travel works, and now you can't even get your decade straight.
But anyway, my next movie is Godzilla vs. Mothra, 92. First introduction of Batra, which is Mothra's brother.
But I thought Godzilla and Mothra were like okay with each other.
In this era, it seems like Godzilla is more of the antagonist than normally, and Mothra has always been the queen of monsters and has always been a savior in all of the Mothra movies. In all of Mothra and Godzilla, she's always been like a savior.
And also is like the only monster that can actually communicate with people, right?
I guess so. Yeah, it seems like it.
Because she's got her two little weird alien women.
But like, I don't know if she's got the weird alien women in the 90s. I've never seen this one. But yeah, it's like in this era, the whole Heisei era, 84 to 95. It seems like he is not necessarily the good guy. He's not the bad guy. He's just inadvertently breaking things because he's clumsy. And then they try to find ways to stop him from breaking things. But we'll see what it's like in Mechagodzilla when it's like the first time I don't know why they make a Mechagodzilla in Mechagodzilla 2, and then there's Space Godzilla, and then there's Destroya. So
too many Godzillas.
I mean, there's like 30-something, 40-something. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 Godzillas. Plus, there's actually an anime coming out on Netflix in March or May.
And then, is Destroya the one that you said was basically like the strongest monster?
It is. Everyone says that he is Godzilla's hardest and most strongest enemy. I've never seen this one, but like he like evolves as the movie progresses and gets stronger and stronger. He is an irradiated crab initially.
Yeah, I was just looking. Originated as a colony of microscopic Precambrian crustaceans that had been awakened and mutated in Tokyo Bay when the Oxygen Destroyer was detonated to kill the original Godzilla in 1954.
Yeah. So it wasn't irradiated, it was something like that, yeah. But it is said that he is, like, the strongest enemy. Like, everyone says it's Ghidorah, but Ghidorah is his most known enemy. Destroyer is his strongest.
Oh, that's weird. I always forget. I forgot you were telling us about that. That, like, the Godzilla of this era is actually a Godzilla Jr., technically.
Oh, yeah, it is. So in the very original Godzilla in 1954, they kill Godzilla. So any Godzilla after is, like, a second Godzilla.
Yeah.
And so, this, like, same with this is, like, somehow a second Godzilla, or the Godzilla that they killed, it just took 30 years for him to regain his skin cells and body parts, because they say he's immortal. Like, he was dissolved into bone in 54. So, how he still is alive, who knows? But from 55 through 75, it was just a different Godzilla.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all that stuff's very weird. But I guess that'll do it for this week, unless either of you have anything else.
Fuck no, it's been 3 hours already.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. By the time I edit it, it's going to be like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Sure, probably.
And look, none of us talk to anybody else all week. Except our wives, and Richie doesn't talk to anybody but his dog.
I have to fucking talk to customers every day right now.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, for some reason, I thought your position was more just like behind the scenes, like getting shit done, not necessarily dealing directly with people.
No, this company, I'm way more direct dealing with customers.
Oh, that's awful.
And we just started the second round of PPP, so, like...
What is that?
The Payroll Protection Program loans.
Oh, okay.
That they did last year. The government started approving new ones.
Oh, well, that's good.
So, yeah.
Cool.
But that means I have to call people a lot.
Yeah, no, that sounds terrible. I apologize. All right. Well, if you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, you can go to your favorite podcast platform like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All those things help a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.